be fun.
A fight!
Fresh to death.
Bask in her radiant blessing.
Leave nothing standing!
Believe or burn.
I'll handle this myself.
Dusk approaches. Night descends. Face your heretic.
Death by my hand.
Ignorant brawl. Moonlight guide me. No more lies. I will be heard. Our light grows brighter. Tried to blind me with resplendence, but they could not break me! Destiny! Explosives primed. They'll never see. Ooh.
I slay horrors and I smile.
Fight or die!
Janna, I answer. Submit to ecstasy!
This land is ours!
Cards to get there, it can just cheat a win eventually and make the life of any sort of mid-range player absolutely miserable to play into. So, not surprised to see that ban either. The ban's
now,
either way.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you...
Oh, okay. Now we fixed the audio. Now we're here.
That's all right. Where was I going? I was gonna ask. So, in terms of like Seraphine set versus Karma set, why do you think players have suddenly like kind of shifted to the Seraphine package that includes, you know, a lot of one-ofs, including I see Pursuit of Perfection?
I think the reason why we're seeing more of a Seraphine list instead of a Karma list is because Karma is very reliant on getting to turn 10. And if you can't get to turn 10, then the deck doesn't really do anything, and it lacks a finisher.
True.
Whereas Seraphine's just like, I'm gonna do stuff early game, and then I'm gonna kill you late game.
I'm just gonna kill you.
Yeah,
please.
There's a difference in play style there, and it's the same thing with Karma Set, right? Like Karma Set's has to get to late game and then kill you in late game, and there are some decks, especially in terms of scouts, what we were talking about earlier. I don't know if the audio was fixed or not at the time. But scouts is something that's very adept at taking over the early game. It's something that counters Ionia quite frequently. So there's just a meta read, really.
Yeah, totally. Now, how do you come back from this, right? Like, Nikeo only has 2 cards in hand. One of them is Darius. One of them is the stun card that I haven't seen in freaking forever.
Yeah,
and then
you know what that card is called without looking at it?
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
I know it's a 5 mana, stun an enemy and give everything 1/1. Right?
Ooh, incorrect, actually.
No, is it?
You've got 2 Jeopardy sections wrong here.
Really?
So the card is a 5 mana stun an enemy, give all allies +2/+0 this round.
Since when +0?
I don't know. Maybe you're just having a Mandela effect. I have no idea.
Probably.
But the card is called Decisive Maneuver.
Decisive Maneuver. Yeah, I would have not got that. I would have tried to call it like Cole or something. It's something like that.
No, fair enough. Cole.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, wow.
Now I feel like this is anytime I'm playing against Janna and Nila, this is something that always strikes fear in my heart. The moment that I see them draw and then suddenly play multiple cards on the stack, because you already know you're losing something. There it goes. It goes. The Darius is going down. We know we don't have any draw. We can't really get into it. Janna and Nila are about to level. I'm gonna have to call it GG and Prism's moving forward.
But the war rages on.
And that is exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like Darius on paper is supposed to be beating Janna and Nila because it can go over top of them. It can go faster than them. But that was one of those rare case scenarios. Well, one of those like slightly outlier scenarios where the deck just whiffs. It just whiffs, and Janna and Nila finds the cards that it needs to, and it just gets there because it has a lower whiff potential. That was a counter matchup, technically speaking, and still Janna and Nila wins that because it just has the power of card draw. It just finds what it needs to all the time.
It's been insane. Like the way I think, okay, like I'm playing against the deck. I'm like, I'm fine. I got what I need. They don't have any cards. Slipstream, Janna spell. I'm just like, oh my god, why do you have everything now? Get out of here. Just die. But I mean, hey, we've seen why it's so powerful. It has 2 variations, one being a spell slinger, one being the aggro one. I feel like the aggro one was, I believe, more common earlier in the last tournament, in the last open. And what do you think kind of made that shift where now we kind of have like a spell slinging one? Is it just because of the 5-cost card that is able to give you 2 I was gonna say environmental spells. Elemental spells for free.
Elemental spells. The environmental spells, it goes to parks and protests about oil. You know, that's what it does. Environmentalist spells.
But I mean, yeah. So freaking, I don't know which one. I feel like I didn't really like playing the deck myself, but I mean, I can't deny that it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think that even if you don't like playing in the deck, you should still be bringing it to the open this weekend because it is just that powerful. And even if you don't know how to play the deck, hey, that's the surprise, you know, like the players that you run into in the open, you have no idea how good they are on their decks, specifically unless you know them. And if you're playing in the open, you're basically bringing and banning Janna and Nila. So you bring Janna and Nila, your opponent bans it, great, you don't have to play it. You play 2 other decks then on top of it. But if you don't know how to play it, I think it still just carries itself so incredibly well. And I think to go back to your question about my opinion on the shift in focus of the deck specifically, I think that the change in that came through because people realized that the elemental spells that Janna and Nila had, you know, obviously the idea is, oh, you play with Deluge or you play it with the Ursine something. I can't remember the name of the card specifically, but it's the 5 mana. It was buffed. It's a 6/4. It makes a one of the shrines every time that you play an elemental card. Or no, every time you play a spell or a skill, actually. That's what it does. It makes one of the... I'm losing my mind. I can't keep track of cards anymore.
No, because there's a lot of cards. Listen.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Volibear package in a while. To be fair,
we really haven't. It was like popular at first and then it disappeared. But I mean, hey, it kind of got outshined by some of the other cards and just the interactions we have. We're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna come right back.
Okay, figuring things out. Bye bye.
And we're back with MaykaS versus egirl. We have Janna Nila versus Scouts, MF Misfortune. Now, we were just talking about this earlier in the stream. Interesting hand that we have on egirl side. We have a champion streak in Inspiring Light. Not many units though, right? It's already turn 2. I mean, I guess we can draw into someone. We do kind of have a good curve with the... Oh, hello. With Fleet for the Tracker, Predator Strike, Broadwing going into a blocking Badger Bear on turn 3. And... Kai, look at this hand on MaykaS side. Talk about removal, right? Like...
I slay horrors, and I smile.
That's, yeah.
Removal.
That's a lot of removal. Jade not going for the trade there. Petricide Broadwing connecting for 3. Would have happened either way.
Interesting. Would you have gone with the trade there?
Me personally, no. I don't think I want to open up an idea of a 2-for-1 in that trade specifically. You know, trading up the Fleet Feather Tracker and then potentially losing the trade with the Petricide Broadwing afterwards just doesn't exactly seem ideal. Ooh, interesting use of the Mystic Shot here, but not a whole lot else available to adhd. It's so strange, like saying that acronym. I know that their name otherwise on Twitter and so forth is Jade, so I'm going to refer to them as Jade, in the same way that we refer to Gailey as Gailey, because Gailey's name on the NA side of things is also not in English. So I will refer to
Gailey.
Gailey. Just like the Incredibles 2 pointing, like, Gailey is Gailey. Math is math.
What are we deciding to updraft here?
It's a great question. There's a lot that you could updraft here. It's going to be the Nila, because you don't have the Sunken Temple on board. You want to make sure you're not discarding that card. And this is where things are going to get a little hairy. Sure, you can Divine Whirlwind to remove one, but having 2 Fleet Feather Trackers, even though they are still removable by some means. Wow, didn't even take the attack there. But even though they are still removable by some means, I think the ability to block and continue getting these stats, you know, playing into that eventual champion strength is great. Here's Scrutinizing Sergeant. He's the Misfortune, like the high rolls that this card can do.
Vanguard Sergeant. We have options. I feel like we go with the Misfortune because then we can do Quinn next turn.
The only problem with Misfortune is that you are concerned about removal. But maybe at this point, if you have a board this wide, you really don't care. And MaykaS also says that they don't care because they want to play Howling Gale. But this does open up some pretty decent removal for Jade on the next turn.
Ooh, double champion strength. Do we get saucy and just pass and champion strength next round?
I don't know if that's something you can afford to do when Divine Whirlwind is in hand. I gotta see what MaykaS' list is though, because from, you know, having Vikrash in the deck in general just always makes me think that this is the much more aggressively slanted version, and it's the version that I'm not a big fan of, because even though Janna Nila does draw a lot of cards, you can see that MaykaS only has 1 card left in hand, something that Sunken Temple usually likes to circumvent. If at all possible.
Yeah, I have MaykaS' deck up right here. This is the Sunken Temple version, so this is like the controlling version. I mean, maybe it seems big. I do see Wisdom Helmsman we have a 3 of, Heavy Metal 1, 3 Mystic Shots, 3 Howling Gales, even Gotcha. I know that's definitely a good card to have, especially with the fact that it gets discounted so much.
If you can find the temple, it is, yeah.
Like, I feel like not being able to get Temple, Scouts putting so much pressure on us. Like, look at this, we're already challenging everything. I mean, do we save the Nila here? It's not really going to work out, given that we have form up.
You could save the Nila or shoot the Quinn, which I'm surprised that Jade didn't attack with the Quinn, having 2 challengers there, but... yeah, that's kind of besides the point. Punching in for 3 damage, you still get to remove with Divine Whirlwind afterwards, and that... I think the reason why you don't save the Nila is because the way that Scouts and this version that is running Champion Strength likes to win is by having a wide board. So if you're able to trade a unit and then also use more removal to kill more units, then that's all the more power to you. Here's Island Navigator, by the way. Fire is a bit of a whiff.
The ephemeral. Oh no. I mean, it gives us a nice, juicy equipment, fearsome.
Oh, wow.
No
this
unit.
Gotta be an open attack.
These are too beefy. Well, we get the scout and get another attack. I think this is just GG with champion strength. We can even put another unit down if we want to.
That Island Navigator, even though Fire Elf did die immediately, the fact that it created a fearsome weapon makes this title invocation effectively useless, really. And Jade can swing in for 8 damage with this Island Navigator alone, really probing the hand of MaykaS to see what they have available. MaykaS will have to commit the title invocation onto the Scrutinizing Sergeant this next turn if they want to make sure that they're not dead. Well, I mean, they're not dead now.
Actually, I think we're dead anyway, just simply because of the champion strength. What champion strength is going to give us? What I believe, 2/2, right? No, 4/4.
4/4.
Yeah, 4/4. That's already 8. We're already at 10. We swing one more time. We can't block the fearsome unit, mind you. We can kill this unit right here. So that's gonna, it's gonna be GG with the rally.
Yep.
Literally because it's the fearsome equipment, which is funny because it technically was a whiff in terms of not being an additional unit.
Just a partial success.
Mm-hmm.
There's always such an interesting. There's a game that I've played where sometimes you'll do like random RNG checks on things, and if you get kind of close, you roll a 50-50 on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, partial success. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I would like to fully succeed at that.
See, but... you know what I have? I have Baldur's Gate, and I roll a run, and it's a critical failure. they literally say I failed so badly.
I think that's what MaykaS rolled, right? MaykaS rolled a critical failure in that last game too.
I mean, that draw, that was really just a draw. It kind of is what it is, you know. When you're fighting decks that like are really spell based, and not necessarily like Shadow Isles where you have the option of killing things just forthright, and you have to really play around things like HP, because with like Noxus or even Shadow Isles kind of play around a little bit more power, like Cutting Strike or things like that, where it's like, if it's below a certain power, we can handle it. But HP is a little bit different. And that's what Bilgewater and Piltover have access to, right? Mystic Shots, High Notes, the Tidal Invocation. These are all pings. So if you're able to run a Vision combination that has access to buffs like Inspiring Light, Form Up, or even just, units, period, that are able to buff. I mean, Failure, we know, has freaking a 1/3. A spell that gives you 1/3, which is insane. Like, was a broken card that has been released in Dispatch. That dispatched this expansion, and a deck like Jenny just simply can't handle something that's gonna be able to buff itself so effectively. Oh,
I think was that Matt?
I think we had a disconnect. We're gonna have to see what's going on right there.
Ooh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Oh dear.
Oh God, why?
Oh no. Well, we're waiting for the spectate session. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, we'll have
exactly.
to check. All right, so let's go ahead. Bring us back. Bring our faces back, boy.
Yeah. They want to look at our faces. That's okay. You know what? Nice little.
Right now.
Split look.
3 seconds.
You can see.
I'm here.
You don't even have to. You don't have to drink to be seeing double. Because you are seeing double.
Where's your username?
Double Jan.
Come here.
Oh, adding a friend?
Where you at? Are you
trying to put my name in there?
In the meantime, while we wait.
No, that ain't that. Well, that's not even my username on LOR.
Pretend. Don't spoil it.
No, you're right.
Anyway, enough of that.
I was in the tournament the whole time. I'm the final boss.
No, but freaking. All right, while the players decide to work on the internet issue, whatever they're having, let's go ahead and go back to the deck list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to, like, we've already talked about how Jana Neela is a must-have. Now, with that being said, do you think that it's important to like have some practice time on it, or you think some players can afford to bring
You see, I think that's a trick question because I don't think you really need too much practice on Janna Neela. I think even just watching what we have here tonight will be enough to put you through. I think that's honestly how I'm feeling about the deck overall, is that it just does what it does so effectively and so reliably that you don't really need to worry about anything else going down. You don't need to worry about like, oh no, they left Janna Neela up and you just play cards. The number of times that I have heard my teammates of mine say, oh, wait, it just does that? Oh, wait, we're just here? Oh, I didn't know I could win like that. Like the number of times that I have heard those kinds of statements come out from people that I've seen playing the deck is a little too high to be coincidental. I think that the deck already plays so powerfully that you can play a few games, get a good general hold on it, you just run it, and you're fine. As long as you get like a couple of ladder games in, I think you'll understand it pretty well.
So basically, it's the kind of deck where like a little bit plays itself, but like if you really want to like be a master at it, like you put in a decent amount of time, and then you'll be able to see maybe the intricate plays that you might not notice if you're kind of just letting it run its course.
Yeah, and I think the intricate plays as well comes from knowing how decks play into Janna Neela, because that's what everyone's trying to do. They're either trying to avoid it or play into it. And when you're able to play a deck that you're like, okay, I'm not so sure if this is a winning matchup for me, you can then think, so what do I need to look for instead? What lines should I be taking? You know, for example, one of the harder matchups for Janna Neela is Aatrox Quinn Bane on paper. I mean, Aatrox Quinn Bane has definitely fallen off in popularity, but that is one of the more popular counters for it. And I played into it in a gauntlet match, and I intentionally took that match thinking, okay, I'm going to try and beat this. And you know what? I did. I actually did end up beating Aatrox Quinn Bane with Janna Neela, just because I felt like I had a much better understanding of my deck over theirs. It was nice. Yeah.
Nice. I'm actually really surprised that I haven't seen Kayn, especially with the buff to his spell.
I've seen Aatrox Kayn a couple times. I took it to Diamond this season.
Wonderful.
But it wasn't good enough to get me to Masters, so I dropped it. I think that Aatrox Kayn still runs into the same issue of, sure, it's consistent in getting its darkened units down, but now that you have the Explorers cards in the game, Heavy Metal is something that you can tech into these Janna Neela decks, which we see MaykaS is running a one of as well. Combined with all of the ways to freeze, like Ash LeBlanc, and stun, like Decisive Maneuver in Nardarius, and Frostbites and Buried in Ice in Jaxorn, which I was another like line that I remembered taking recently against an equipment deck, and it just blew them out of the water. I think that there's too much reliance on those darkened equipment in Aatrox Kayn for Kayn to be a reliable bring in every deck, even after the buff.
Yes. That makes sense. It makes sense. Like, now, when you're fighting a mirror match like this, what do you feel like are some of the key pieces to it? I feel like maybe, I feel like Sucking Simple is probably one, because it allows you to not only cheapen your cards, but also get that draw to roll in. But then, like, in terms of champions, I guess Janna, you think?
Janna, if you feel like you can level her, yes. And that's because if you can level Janna, you have her as an elusive unit, and she's a 3/5. So that's a lot of resources that have to go out of their way to specifically target Janna to make sure that she doesn't continue generating value for the player there. And that's why I think that she can be more of the difference maker. Now, of course, Neela can win games, but I often don't think like, oh, I have a leveled Neela, I'm going to win the game now. I often think, oh, I have a leveled Neela, I can punch in for 2 damage and get a Slipstream in my deck now. That's how I feel about her. So
makes sense.
That's
I mean, Neela has always just felt like the engine of it all, because if you're able to really get a good draws on the Slipstreams, it can really just slide you into victory, especially with all the draws.
Oh, totally. I mean, you played Neela on 2 and attack and get that draw card. That's already powerful enough in this deck because of how much else it activates. the Windborn Mariner, the Exalted Cloudwinder, and then of course Neela, Neela herself and Janna. I think one of the underappreciated things about Slipstream 2 is the fact that it's almost an anti-mill, like self-mill tool, right? Because you're creating the Slipstream in your deck, so that's an extra card for Neela to draw into, so you don't have to worry about overdrawing to get to her win condition. Eye of the Storm is committed in response to this Divine Whirlwind. Both players take her 2 at the end of the match, or at the end of this attack swing. But Jade will be the one coming off with less HP. We'll have to commit the Neela here to make sure that they have a unit at least, but Howling Gale, well, that'll most likely be the response here.
Yeah, for a full 5 too. There it goes.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Neela. Joy unbound, everlasting, as she says, or something along those lines.
Like, I guess the Janna can kind of bring you back because you're going to be able to updraft, but even so... See, another Sunken Temple, draw. Okay, Janna. Okay, got some units, A little bit of removal. This is tricky though, right? Because in these regions, we don't really have like the AoE power that like something that a region like Freljord has, where we can, you know, we can have Avalanche, we could have Cryo, I believe the Storm of the Cryo Phoenix, where we're able to kind of just wipe the board. In this case, we have a lot of pings and like spells that really want to just deal damage to one unit. Here comes the Wizened Helmsman. We're gonna go ahead and get. What are we choosing? What are we choosing? Ooh, Slipstream. Final Whirlwind, Eye of the Storm.
Slipstream being an elemental card catches me off guard every time.
Yeah, that caught me off guard. It did. I looked at it, I was like, oh.
You're like, oh, Slipstream.
Kind of crazy.
For me personally, if I was in Jade's shoes there, I would have slammed the Wizened Helmsman. Knowing that we've played Divine Whirlwind, so the way the Wizened Helmsman works is a little bit weird. It takes a look at every elemental spell that you've played this game, and it will only give you a maximum of one of each of those. So
really,
even if I've played 3 Divine Whirlwinds in a game and I play Wizened Helmsman, I will only be able to get 1 Divine Whirlwind from it, and it will be removed from the card selection pool on the second manifest. So then the second manifest will get me, like what we see with MaykaS here, Howling Gale, Eye of the Storm, Slipstream, etc. Eye of the Storm is too.
Guaranteed to get, you know, certain cards.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So it removes it from the pool. But then it also means that you can't play Wizened Helmsman and then generate 2 Divine Whirlwinds and burn your opponent for 4 and remove 2 units. So I think it's like kind of balanced in that way, but I do like the card quite a bit because of it. And see now, because Jade wasn't able to play the Wizened Helmsman there, because they had previously played those removal spells, their draws that they get from the Sunken Temple here are significantly lessened. They don't have the removal to take these Miriams or the Windborn Mariner off the board. They take a ton of damage, can't trade back into their opponent's Wizened Helmsman, which wasn't going to happen really because of Howling Gale. And they're down to 1 HP. MaykaS just has lethal right now. So it's those weird little lines, especially in the mirrors, that it's hard to predict for exactly. Also, I do appreciate the score adjustment. We did previously see that Jade had no points and MaykaS had 1-1, but it's actually 1-1 now.
Now it's 1-1. So we'll get to see how that rolls out. I do need one of them should go ahead and go with like a surrender. They don't necessarily have to restart. Right.
But I think that'll just be like based off of an honor system. So we saw that the MF Quinn took the first victory against Jan and Neela in doing the things that it did best. And even with Sunken Temple in that round specifically, the one that was able to go wider faster was the one that won, because you often don't have the removal consistent enough to take things down. Now, here's a matchup that isn't good for MaykaS, which is the Shen J4. This, even though you might think Yeah, Denial in Ionia and buffs from Demacia and Barrier is a really good counter to what...
That's what I would think.
That's what you would think. But here's the thing. Those barriers, they're temporary. The units that MaykaS runs, when they don't have the barrier or when they can't weather the storm, pun not intended, of all of these elemental spells, you're going to be running yourself into a lot of issues in terms of keeping your board intact. Plus the fact that Jade can just draw into cheap units. Windborn Mariner costing 0. Exalted Cloudwinder, so many syllables, but Exalted Cloudwinder costing 3 mana. Being able to chump things out and just stall the game until you can get a burn game plan is equally as effective against the stack. So you're running into problems left and right here.
Like, look at this. Hold up, we're already getting Shen to 3 out of 5.
That is pretty impressive. This is one of the curves that can beat Jananila. The Shen on board and plus the Kinko student. But
okay, I like this. I mean, we definitely can block with Janna, right? We could even block the Shen, technically speaking, because I don't believe there's any 1 mana buffs in Demacia right now. That I believe the only one would have been the... Oh, what is it called? I just know it's the Lucian guns.
Oh, no, I know what you mean.
That's all I know. It's the Lucian guns against 1/1. But anywho, so we're gonna go ahead and get this block. It doesn't matter who we block, 'cause they're both 3.
Nah, not a
Radiant
chance.
Strike.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh, are we gonna decide to trade it off? Gonna use a gacha?
You shall not assail them.
I think that's what
Baiting.
Jade wants to do. They want to use the gotcha here. Take 7.
Okay, there we go. I like it. Gonna go ahead and block with Janna. Get this unit off the field now. Shen isn't gonna get as quick as a level up, right? We're gonna need 2 more barrier spells.
The Zephyr heralds the
We'll get 1 on the next attack swing. Gale's coming through currently at 2. Look at all these discounted spells and
Be
units.
seen to move our world.
Yep.
Leap of faith, huh?
Windborn Mariner costs 0. The Cloudwinder, because you drew 3 cards this turn and also happened to updraft it earlier in the match with something. I'm not sure what they drafted it with. Now that costs 1 mana. And drawing 3 cards again next turn. I think Jade might be a little bit nervous from the last match where they lost on board with and they are already down in terms of HP. And so this is why they're playing these units instead of the Sunken Temple, and I'm a big fan of that, really. So MaykaS is committing the single combat here because they want to try and keep the Shen's HP as high as possible. You do not want to pre-commit the spell here. Just let this go through. You know that you have the removal post this combat. Don't want to entice them to play the Spirit's Refuge this turn, if at all possible. Otherwise, Janna's damage doesn't go through here either.
And then I would say, I guess also in the event that removal does come down for the Shen, right? Here it goes. We do have, we have second Shen. We don't even have to worry about it. We'll just play the second Shen. Ooh, opting for the lifesteal.
I think the danger of that second Shen, though, is the fact that this one gets reset by the one.
Oh, okay. I've seen allies. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Which that was kind of the little pseudo buff that he got earlier. Well, it doesn't swing for 5. But yeah, that was like one of the pseudo buffs that Shen had gotten previously, where applies barrier to himself because he didn't have that before, but then his level up requirement went up by 1. And I think like the reason why that was a really nice buff, though, even though the level up requirement did go up by 1, the buff was nice because it allowed Shen to stay alive on board if he was developed on an attacking turn. And that's what we saw there. Like, that was something that got him really close and something that wouldn't have been possible before. We still would have been equally amounts off, but would have had to commit more spells in order to keep Shen alive. And so that single combat that went through, sure, it loses the Shen, but you wouldn't have been able to do that single combat to the same efficacy if Shen didn't create barrier to begin with. So
Yeah,
it's really interesting little intricacies that change by just manipulating the numbers here and there.
Yeah. Ooh, J4 going down with the Gale. And like it's interesting, we had lost to Janna, right? We had lost a couple units, and look at this, already back up to par. Now I know that nerf to the Exalted Cloudwinder, yeah, Cloudwinder, losing one more damage used to be a 3-2, now is just a 2-2. Valid, makes sense that this quick attack is pretty powerful. What do we block here? I mean, I guess we can get rid of Neela. We know once she levels up, she's going to be a bit of a problem. We have a lot of, we have a rally, a single combat. We have Shen and J4. I feel like something that's like a problem with, I guess, this deck in particular, maybe even the Demacia decks, period. You can roll into some really high mana, high cost units. And like once you lose your units earlier on, it's so hard to like rebuild the board back up. Like look at all that, a whole 4 mana. Just to get the Shin back online. Mind you, our next swing is going to be pretty banger. We'll be able to get J4 out, unless we decide to go with Sign-In instead, just to kind of get the draw going.
Yeah, I mean, there's this is such a tough place for MaykaS to be in. Now, Jade is definitely eyeing that Badger Bear. With malicious intent.
Malicious intent.
Yeah, that's the best way I can explain it. Is by.
Well, there we go.
I mean, this does communicate no form up in hand, and nobody runs Ranger's Resolve. Unless you're weird.
No, that's weird. I mean, hey, maybe that's the Ranger's Resolve is the answer.
No. Don't give them any ideas. I hate that card.
I'm surprised Scouts isn't running it, to be honest. I think if any deck was going to run it, it would be Scouts.
I think you just get more value out of inspiring them at this point.
Yeah, honestly.
Also, here's the Temple just kind of doing its thing. If you ever wanted the mid-range breaker, that's what it is. That's what it do. Developments are a little bit dangerous here for Jade. Honestly, I'd go for the Miriam to updraft onto Eye of the Storm, personally. Toss that card back. You don't really need it for the trade up here. Find yourself a better card, and then also give yourself the opportunity to draw into cards with the Janna cost reduction with Slipstream, but we've kind of done that a little bit backwards, but have drawn ourselves into a Howling Gale, which can remove the Patricide Broadwing. Scary thing is that when MaykaS attacks here, they will be pulling the Jarvan out, and it will also pull one of these Cloudwinders. So, bit of a back and forth situation, but I think that Jade is honestly in a fine position right now.
I'm not mad about the Gale, because I guess if your opponent develops, then you know that the Broadwing is going to get buried and it's going to be able to challenge something for free. And that's the only thing why I wouldn't want to play J4 is because you suddenly. I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily defeat the purpose because you will still be able to challenge something. It's just what you want to use to challenge it type of situation.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's tricky because like the moment that your opponent just starts playing cards, especially after they've kind of revealed, hey, I do have a spell in hand.
Music's up.
At least I would say not necessarily your opponent, but like when it comes to Janna, they're if you're good at reading it, or like you kind of been paying attention, you can kind of suss out, okay, there's a potential for a Gale in hand. They're choosing to play cards. They already did hover over a spell, so I might want to have keep that in mind.
I think something that really gave Jade away here as well is the fact that she played the Miriam and updrafted for spell mana and didn't opt in for the draw. And that is a little scary for MaykaS to deal with. Now, MaykaS, instead of choosing to go for J4 in this attack, instead wants to play for the sign and is now removing the challenger unit so that she can choose to block how she wants to. And, in fact, develop how she wants to. There's no such thing as a confront in this deck either, or deck for that matter.
Can you imagine?
Even though no confront's 2 mana, I forget. Confront's a card that people probably haven't thought of in ages.
Two mana for Shyvana level, 3 mana for when it's ran in the deck.
Oh, is that what it is? It does.
Confront's the dragon card, right?
Confront is the card that gives you Challenger at burst speed. grants
Challenger
another
first team?
Challenger. Yeah, I think
one unit or multiple units?
I believe it's just one. Are you thinking On Guard?
No, I'm thinking not On Guard, the other one. Dragon. What the hell is it called? There's too many cards. I'm tired of this. No, that was thinking of Strafing Strike. There's Strafing Strike, and then there's On Guard. On Guard is the one that gives Challenger to a unit. There you go. Yeah, you're right. Pardon me.
Strafing Strike also received a very significant buff, and that's another card that you just don't see played ever. I don't like Mr. Shot personally, but hey, that's just...
I mean, I don't know. Like 6 HP, we're wider than our opponent. We already saw 2 single combats come out. Ooh, heavy metal, gotcha, that I really want to see. Divine Whirlwind, okay. I like Divine Whirlwind.
Well, maybe it was the right call, because now Neela does all this damage. Shen can't block Neela because of Brash. You're down to 1 HP, unless you have some sort of targeted removal, like the single combat we've been seeing before. But it doesn't matter. You're dead to Mystic Shot, or you're dead to Mystic Shot. Pick your poison. Well, I mean, Divine Whirlwind in this case, but yeah. And Divine Whirlwind, funny enough, does not need to kill a unit to do its secondary effect.
True, because it's and. That's something.
Yep.
Is it and? Not even and. It's just 2 separate sentences. Oh no, I see the and. Okay. Yeah. Because it says and. Something that's something when as I was learning Runeterra, like I had to get used to doing, because I used to think that when I used to play discard, I was like I absolutely had to discard. I believe there are some cards like you really do, but like for example, what's the one drop?
Zonite Urchin? Or
yeah, Zonite Urchin. Yeah, I used to just always discard even when I didn't want to.
Oh, I see.
I was just like, damn, why did I got discard? And then someone taught me, he was like, you can just hit skip, right? And I was like, there's a skip button? What the hell did they put a skip button in this game? It blew my mind.
I feel like every player kind of goes through that. The number of times that I have seen, because back when Mogwai used to upload and everything, and people would say in the comments, like after he played some predict card, to be like, oh, I didn't know there was a skip button for predict. Every player kind of goes through that. I think it's a funny little rite of passage.
I was just like, ooh, I don't know any. We are gonna see ADH egirl claim the victory. Okay, Jade, claim the victory here with this Divine Whirlwind as expected. That is a 2-1.
And that's why you ban Janna Neela because
let me tell you something. Every time I've been in like a best of 3, whatever the case may be, and I'm like, it's fine. I'ma leave it alone. And then I leave it alone, and it does not leave me alone. It takes me by the throat and starts dragging me across the Runeterra board. I'm just like, what is this deck? First off, can you relax?
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, okay, this deck is just it. I gotta start respecting it. I felt like there was some other metas where like there was certain decks that I just never respected. I was just like, every single time I did it, I was taught a lesson. I was just like, okay.
Yep.
Okay. You're doing your thing. I can't be mad. This was me losing in the bad phase. But even so, like, what do you feel like are some? I'm curious. What are the stats for Jen and Neela in terms of what decks?
Oh, they're favored in the Shen J4.
Okay.
They're favored. And yeah, it just like it goes into that same kind of problem where barrier is a temporary thing, and Jan and Neela has a lot of cheap units. So you don't care that the Badger Bear has barrier this turn, that's not going to have that next turn. It's not guaranteed to have that because Jen can only distribute 1 at a time. And so
makes sense.
Once you put your units in danger of being removed by Divine Whirlwind, Howling Gale, etc., and you can't prevent burn because you're not running the side of Ionia that leans into healing a little bit more.
Like all you have is Spirit Refuge. That's it.
Spirit's Refuge in a single combat, which is 6 mana, or you have to try and get a unit on board to make that trade, and then quite often the healing that you get is negligible. It's like, oh, I'm healing for 4 this turn, and unless it's on Jarvan, I think Jarvan's the highest attack unit in that deck. But if you get like a heal onto Jarvan, then he has to strike, has to have barrier available to make sure that he stays alive for a little bit longer. Otherwise, you get one heal, then suddenly Janna plays Wizened Helmsman. You get Janna's elusive now and has Eye of the Storm available and just hits you for 5 anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's just a Spirit Refuge. It has too many requirements. It's not like, you know, let's run a health pot and just heal for 3 really quickly, or, you know, we have an Explorer card that can give us a little hot cocoa and heal us for 2. It has too many requirements. You can pop it. You can even shoot your own unit. If you're really desperate to not let your opponent heal, just kill your own unit, and suddenly what are they gonna do? You suddenly now are required to have single combat to respond to it.
And I think I'm gonna read Divine Whirlwind again just to make sure. Yeah, so Divine Whirlwind, if you have that in hand and it's been discounted, it says deal 3 to a unit. It does not have to be an enemy unit. So if you do go for that lifesteal option and you shoot your own unit with Divine Whirlwind, it will still deal the 2 damage to the enemy nexus and prevent that lifesteal.
Okay.
So yeah, there is that angle. Like, you can shoot your own unit and get benefited for it if someone tries to do that lifesteal line. So it's yeah, the deck is nuts. It's insane. It's insanely powerful.
So like overall, it's basically it seems like it's just not even worth trying to like go after it. You might as well just ban it, get rid of it, and then try to deal with everything else. But then at that point, it's like, what kind of mind game are you trying to play in terms of building your lineup, where it's like, okay, if people are going to be countering Janna and Leela, then I gotta counter what's countering Janna and Leela, but then what counters those things, and then now I gotta worry about the decks that are gonna counter that. It becomes this whole weird game, and then you have to suddenly decide on the third deck, and we know everybody has third deck syndrome.
Oh yeah, no, I have a terrible third deck syndrome. I cannot figure out what my third deck is going to be for the life of me. Because I'm obviously bringing Janna and Leela. That's a given. And then my second deck, I decided to try and go for the Seraphine set side of things. And then third deck, I'm just like, I don't know, do I play Timo Sejuani Warden? Because that has some favored lineups. Do I play Ash LeBlanc? Do I play, you know, talking about like the counters to counters, Ash LeBlanc actually counters out the Nardarius, which is the Janna and Leela counter, which is really funny. But all that besides the point, we have Yangzera on Shen J4, one of the more popular decks tonight, and Douguito, who has 3 Windborn Mariners and their trusty little friends Janna and Timo in the list. It's a champion strength list. That is the idea of the deck. You play big unit and rally. Yangzera, similarly playing Demacia, also play big unit and rally. But Douguito have smaller unit than Yangzera.
Douguito have smaller units. Smaller units. No barrier.
I know that like casting is best when it's unbiased and everything.
Stand, breathe.
However, Demacia still does not fail to bore me.
I was just thinking, I was waiting for it. I was like, there's a little too much Demacia in this meta. I know Kai is not having a good time.
Straight up not having a good time. I mean, that's also like the reason why I'm having trouble creating a lineup, because I just refuse to bring Demacia to the open, which might be throwing, but at the same time, I'm just not interested in what they're selling, you know.
Listen, value my fun over my wins. Maybe.
Exactly.
Today. Now,
Janna,
we already see that Shen's gonna kind of pop off.
Place your faith in
We
me
have
and
units, we
your
have a Janna.
destiny shall
Unfortunately, don't have Douguito's hand, so we're gonna have to kind of make do with that.
Heralds
If you're playing, let's take a look at this deck list real quick, because I am kind of curious to see what's in here in this Janna Timo pile.
Oh, it's
like
champion
I said,
strength.
So we're focusing on the champion strength. I see removal. We have 2 Howling a Gale, 3 Divine Whirlwind, but other than that, it's literally all units. Literally all units and some buffs. So we kind of have to really bank on being able to go, I guess, maybe a little bit wider than our opponent. Because even with champion strength, right, we can barrier out of that. We can block at least 2 units and be A-okay.
Defend our brethren.
Yeah, I mean, even in terms of this swing here from Douguito, sure they'll be able to swing here and all. Howling Gale has to be committed. And that's because Douguito doesn't want Yangzera to be blocking this Teemo winning his champion when it gets the champion strength buff next turn. And even for this swing right now, it's not exactly beneficial. So Yangzera has to consider playing the Spirit's Refuge, decides against it. And I think that's the right call. Oh boy. But decides against playing the Spirit's Refuge there because Spirit's Refuge, you don't get the barrier after that Howling Gale goes through. And so if you can then get the barrier and the lifesteal on another unit, for example, Shen, or even putting it on Chiral here, that is a little bit better for Yangzera. But both players are down to very few cards, and I can only imagine what Douguito has left in hand, considering the way that they've been attacking and the way that this board is shaping up.
You'll never know what hit him.
Oh man, this scout attack with Teemo though. Like, would it have been worth to save the Badger Bear?
I don't know, because you always have to think about that last card could also just be more removal, and Douguito is playing the biggest bluff known to mankind. Ouch.
Ooh, J4.
J4 is pretty nice, removes the unit before champion strength can do anything. And Teemo also going down thanks to Challenger, and on top of all of that, you still have the Spirit's Refuge. Plus, this Caretaker is going to be massive. In fact, I think that's a Shen leveled. Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
that is
we got leveled up Shen.
So that's not bad.
Yeah, let's go. Got 3, 5.
Shen J4.
He's a 7?
Yeah, it's a 7. You gain 3 barriers. You get it from Jarvan, the Kinko student, and Giral getting it from Shen. And so that's +6. And if you want to heal 10, you can play Spirit's Refuge.
That's like, I would be a little bit afraid to play the Spirit's Refuge because you do have to play around, let's see, Divine Whirlwind, which is out of 3 of, and then no Mystic Shots though. So it would have to be Divine Whirlwind to pop it. Mind you, I don't think we do have the mana for both of them if we really wanted to pop 2 of them, just to get rid of the unit and prevent the lifesteal from coming out.
I think that's what Douguito's looking at too. Like, they're sitting on 11 mana here, and that long wait.
There it goes.
To go through. Oh man, if Janna's updraft Drew into double Divine Whirlwind for Douguito, this is going to be a really good swing for them. All waiting with bated breath.
Are we working?
Does Douguito?
There. Okay, draw. Oh wow, 5. Oh, because of freaking Giral.
It's Giral, yeah.
Giral's been getting everything too. +2. There it goes.
Whirlwind
Trade off the J4. That makes sense because, you know, J4 is going to get a level up and it's going to start using Cataclysm, and then with that has Barrier. So basically any unit you play is going to die.
Correct. It's a good call for Douguito. And I think that because Jan is able to draw you... Remember Douguito had 1 card in hand a minute ago? Not anymore.
Brought it all back.
Brought it all back. And she might even level this turn with no way to block elusive. That's terrifying.
I mean, this 17 though. 17 HP that we have to work through. We have a leveled up Shen, a Challenger unit, Green Taker, Green Blade.
Green Glade Caretaker.
Shield is yours.
Honor.
It's a green. It kind of sounds like something from a. Sounds like some sort of rap bar.
Green
for Legends of Runeterra.
Where's Max got the tracks?
Give me back in the LOR Cypher with Absolution next year. Like Green Glade Caretaker. I don't know. It just has like a nice rhythm to it.
It does. Look, speaking of the level up that you were talking about, I have the sword coming through. Gonna go ahead and draw 2. Currently on 5 for Janna. Not gonna get lethal. Definitely no way to get lethal here. Not unless we Oh wait, hold up. Scout equipment. Scout equipment onto Janna. That's gonna be 6. That's gonna be 12.
In you, I see my will made manifest.
Let's see, scout equipment plus something has to be like heavily cost reduced for that to work.
Yeah, like it heavily. I mean, cost reduced? Cost reduced? Potential. We can't see it yet, but we'll hold with bated. Listen, we're waiting. We'll see what that is. Uh-oh.
Man, I'm just thinking of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire $500,000 question theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know that classic, just don't.
Okay, gonna go ahead and take the draw out.
Yeah, that
I'm not mad about it.
That ain't happening. I mean, we know that Douguito's tapped out of mana. They'd have to have something that was severely cost reduced by like a double.
There's no mystic shot, so we do not have to worry about that.
And in response,
really gonna trade the late. Okay, no, that makes sense.
You don't trade.
It's a 22. No, like, you know what's crazy? Like, my anxiety would be like, hey, don't do that, because what if they have it? Even though they're on 0 mana, and then I literally throw in the 2-1 instead. Just to be ultra safe. Makes absolutely no sense, but it's probably what I would do. Now, look at this juicy open swing. We don't go ahead and pull the Janet. There goes the elusive. We have a freaking 8. See, here's the thing about these two regions. We just don't have overwhelm. Because this Green Plague Taker could really just go nuts.
Could be worried about another Spirit's Refuge in hand or a moral support being another card. And that, if it was played, so you might be looking at the block that they made with Miriam and think, oh, you could avoid blocking Shen, but if Yangzera draws into any of their barrier spells and they play that on Shen, Shen just swings for lethal right there. And the other crazy thing is, okay, hold on, Douguito, stop playing cards. Wow. You're scaring me. But the scary thing about
oh, is this game?
Wait, is that?
We might just have game right now.
Well,
just because of the scout with the freaking having another Janna. Look, we just refilled our hand. We have moral support. That's not gonna do it.
Moral support.
Yeah, there goes the GG. There's the GG.
Supporting the surrender. That's okay. I was making a point about something, and Douguito said, "Hold on, I'm gonna draw 6 cards right now, and we'll figure out our options."
Literally, there was 2 cards left. You just suddenly draw some by WinCon. It'll matter. Not curious to see where they got the scout equipment from. I wasn't able to check back in, but what they're running. Where is it? Wow, you know what's crazy?
Castaway.
A one of.
Yep.
A one of Castaway got them the scout equipment that won them the game. That's kind of crazy.
Do you remember it was so funny when Riot made the change to Victor and Pantheon ages ago, where they couldn't get scout off of their randomly generated keywords. And then I think in the very next patch, they released the equipment weapon master package. And so
they did that on purpose.
They did it on purpose, yeah.
They knew what they were doing.
There was a game that I played, and it was like for some recording a while ago, and it was like Riot removed scout from the random generator, but then they lied to me. It was like some Gwen attack that I was getting hit with because they randomly generated a scout off of an equipment unit. Man, feels bad when you lose to that kind of RNG.
I mean, I guess it's better in the sense that, like, if you transfer that kind of keyword over to an equipment, you now suddenly have, I guess, more access to kind of interact with it, right? Like, we do have, now that we have the release of the Explorers, we do have access to equipment destruction, and we do have it, like, amongst other regions kind of scattered about. Whereas if it's on a unit like Victor or Pantheon, there is a chance that they can get, well, Pantheon specifically on summon has barrier, and then Victor has the potential of getting spell shield. So suddenly it's now a lot harder to interact with them compared to the equipment. And then of course it also passes over priority when you have to play that. So now you do get the option to do something to try to, I guess, like, prevent it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you also do run into the problem of, in the terms of, oh, okay, well, there's just things happening.
Everything's happening. Oh my god.
Close Samira level up. It's been a while, really. I mean, Samira, with the changes that came in the most recent patch, is struggling to find her footing once again. And that is, you know, a little problematic.
We're getting all the level ups. All right, continue with what you were saying, Kai. Yeah, that was a pivotal turn.
That was a pivotal turn. I'm sad that we didn't get like greater context prior to this because we are quite deep into the game now. I believe it's still match 1 considering the match timers as well.
Yeah.
So, but man, the Samira level up in a Cosmic Cultist is terrifying. Bone Club as well is not going to be nearly as impactful as Jade would like it to be because of Fallen Club. However,
3 mana.
3 mana. And this is the power of Samira in this list. Prior to I had a point I was making and then I reminded myself of the point, so let's go back to the point I was making. Samira's nerf in this patch, because of how severely she's been nerfed over the last few patches, because of her potency, she's just been the default good Noxian champion. You would think that she'd find some difficulty in finding her footing now, but Prismsword has found this list, or not found this list, has been playing this list in this Cosmic Call, where you can play a bunch of reduced cost cards in the Celestial package, and that allows you to level the Samira because you're able to play these things at great efficiency. Like the Supernova costing 5 mana, for example, is something that's pretty good. These blocks here from Prismsword are, well,
Living Legends.
Contempt. Living Legends is a little scary, and that's going to level Samira, or flip Samira on the rally here. That's a little terrifying. House Speaker's also not going to be able to get enough lethal because that Star Shaping keeps Prism at 4 HP. Living Legends, do we find the cards?
Ooh, double Scourge, Elusives.
I think it's just going to be double Scourge and because it's a rally. And Jade throwing out the GG knows that that's exactly what's going down.
That one was played quickly,
Let's make the next
and they made it to that that was played fast. That was like what 10, 15-minute game?
No, not even that. I mean, the timer that we saw there was hardly past the 39-minute mark. Like they had barely gone down 6 minutes on the overall match timer.
No.
And they were like round 10.
They were playing ridiculously fast then.
They were just throwing the cards out there.
I mean, shoot. What are we working with? Okay, double Nila. Whirling Decisive, keeping Sky Splitter. I like the keep of the Sky Splitter and Ruthless Raider. Double Sky Splitter is nice. Okay, myself kept Nila. Okay. Heavy Metal. Master Lookout is always such an interesting inclusion in my mind, but that's just me being like a self-proclaimed, which makes me sound a lot more prideful, and it is because I am prideful, but a self-proclaimed professional on Janet Nila. And interestingly enough, Prism is not on the Temple version. It is instead going just all out on units. However, their deck does not top out. Tide Dancer instead tops out with Wizened Helmsman. So putting a lot more value in the spells that you can bring. 3x Eye of the Storm, which is something that you don't usually see, but it shores up that lack of draw that you're not getting from Sunken Temple. Yeah.
And only 2 Helmsmen, but then you're also running 2 Vikrush, the Exuberant, and 2 Heavy Metal. So there's a lot of little flex cards in here that changes the playstyle ever so slightly, but I do like this version because it does allow for Jan and Nila to have a chance into equipment-based decks that it might not have nearly as much of a chance into otherwise.
Because if I'm not mistaken, in terms of equipment-based decks, that in the last open, it was Jax Owen that was really taking the cake and kind of beating up Jan and Nila, was it not?
Yes, it was. And that's just because the main thing that Jan and Nila, and something that people don't really give the deck credit for or take points away for, what would you say, like detract from its credit score?
The Jan and Nila credit score.
Minus 500 credit score facing the equipment deck.
True.
So, a little bit of a side track there, but the thing that detracts or that really dampens the ability for Jananila to win are big stat sticks. That's why this Gnar Darius list is touted as such a good counter to it. That's why things like Jaxor and Aatrox Quinn Vayne, even if people are still running that, which they could be in tournament settings, it's not. I don't think it's a particularly great deck. Otherwise, even Warden of the Tribes before the nerf was a problem for it. Yeah, because you just reach a point where, oh, my stats are so much larger than yours, you cannot possibly face up to me. And yeah, Jan and Neela, they're good at single target removal up to 5 HP sometimes, maybe even 8 if you combine Howling Gale with the Divine Whirlwind. But as soon as you pass that threshold, as soon as you have multiple units on board that are beefed up by equipment or whatever other means, that's where Jan and Neela starts to fall apart. Also, block this Overwhelm. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to take 1 damage at least or trade a unit? Like, that's not great.
Another thing that's kind of tricky, like, and here it is, the Battle Fury. Like if you can either A, just accept the damage, or now you suddenly have to take 8 because of Battle Fury. And like, these stats aren't going away either. This is permanent. You now have an 11-4 with ToF and Overwhelm. How are you going to deal with it?
I mean, you're going to shoot with
dump everything?
Burst, but you don't have the mana to really follow anything up. I mean, the reason why this Divine Whirlwind goes through is just to level the Janna. I don't think that Prism is on the mindset of killing this card this exact turn. It's just more in the sense of, I need to get this into a more reasonable space so that if I do draw into Divine Whirlwind later, I'll be able to.
It's spooky though, because like given that we're running solo, like we have Sky Sword and we have 3 Sisters, which gives us access to Fury of the North. That's a whole another 4 HP that we're gonna have to work through.
Yeah.
It's tricky. I can see why like this specific deck is a counter to Jananila. And especially given that you like naturally have access to the ToF keyword.
Yep. I mean, ToF has always been a really good counter for Piltover and Zon lists.
Ooh, Gale.
Okay. We have decent options here. Not going to be able to level the Janna just yet, unless we specifically draw into another... unless we specifically draw into another cost-reduced card from an updraft from earlier. And the only draw that Prism has is that Eye of the Storm. The board width is going well. Here we go. Ooh.
See, now it's at 5. We tap below Fury of the North, which means we only have Sky Splitter. I'm not gonna go ahead and do it because we know that actually, would Sky Splitter have done it? Would have been 5. It would have been 1. No, Mystic Shot would have finished the kill.
Mystic Shot would have finished the kill, and I think what Jade wants to do this turn is to use Whirling Death. But Prism's going to reduce the chances of that happening by removing a Tusk Speaker. And
now this guy's All right, so no swinging with Janna because Janna's going to get traded off. So it makes this swing a little bit weaker. We are going to have to block one of the Brash units.
You only could be allowed to block one of them, honestly, because Tusk Speaker being a 2 HP does not allow for that. So you trade 2 units off, get 5 damage in, and 5 damage is not a lot for Janna to chew through. This is
at all
quite rough. I honestly think you do swing with Pool Shark here, because the card's not doing too much else on the
and it's not necessarily a good blocker when you're fighting Overwhelm units.
Break against me.
I would have even been surprised swinging with everything, but I think it's probably best just to keep the Gen on the back end, give you no swing level up. That's gonna go ahead and refill your hand. At most, what are we afraid of? I want to say Darius. We don't want to have to deal with a top deck Darius.
The Zephyr heralds the squall.
Even if there is one, I think that it's just... Oh, man. Janna is one of the cards of all time. It's really funny to me to see Riot consistently do this for their game, where they will push out a champion that works really well with cheating mana, and then the champion takes over the game, and it's a surprise. It's a quote surprise every single time. Like no, we very much anticipated this Janna being able to reduce the cost of every single card that's drawn now. Yeah, we'll force Jade to surrender. I mean, the board is too wide. Prism got on board faster thanks to the lack of Sunken Temple in that list, and takes over the game. That's again supposed counter matchup. Supposed.
It's because. It's like that sometimes, because even with your counters, right, it's not like, oh, yes, I played this deck and I'm suddenly always going to beat this deck. No, it really depends on the draws. It depends on the decisions you make, you know, and with, like, Janna Neela's package, maybe even just Janna specifically, because it kind of revolves around her as a champion more, it's kind of banger. It's really, really good. You draw enough, you discount everything. You play enough of, oh, I guess suddenly I'm dealing 5 damage to something, and in Standard, I believe, what, I think in Standard, most things that are a problem are like 5 HP and below. Because even back when, I know the developers talked about how Ravun was a problem. And when Red Leona was a thing, like Samira Leona, KO Leona, whatever the case may be, just for the simple fact he had one too much HP for anything to deal with him. So now kind of like, I guess, balancing around that fact and keeping in mind, you know, what removal is available in Standard and what they can do, you know, it going up to 5 damage, the Howling Gale, it's really good. You can remove most big threats. You know, aside from what I believe Darius, is Darius come down as 5 or is he 6? Hold on, let me check. 6. He's a 6/6. He's a 6/6 before prior level up. So, but mind you, you can always combo that with everything because it's like, it's cheap. 3 mana. You telling me you can't save 3 mana? You can save 3 mana.
I can save
this.
Oh, okay. Well,
that was quick.
I was having a great look at that, actually. We just tuned into the end. Hey, that was that deck I've been talking about that I wasn't sure anyone was going to bring. But Aatrox Quinn Vayne is being brought by Winte D Arc, and we'll swing it for lethal with the Anaka at the end there. Yeah, talking about the HP, the mana cheating, the HP concerns that you have. I don't know if you remember way back in the day. You know, back in my day, there was this deck called TLC. It stood for Trundle Lysandra Control, and that was a deck that had taken over a lot of the meta at the time. And in response to it, what did Bryant do? They nerfed Trundle to 5 HP. And he was useless because he's a turn 5 4/5 with regen was terrible. You have to wait until turn 8 to level him up most of the time, unless you have a ramp, like heavy ramp, which that deck did. But it did. Just by nerfing him by 1 HP, that was a deck that also saw one of its main combo pieces suffer. So I agree with what you say. There is that kind of break point, but in some ways, Janna Neela, because of its plethora of removal, just does not care about that break point. Also, here's a great little use of the Durand Sculptor to buff the Patricide Broadwing. Not only to a 4 HP unit, but also a tough unit.
Like, and that card, I believe, came out when Kaisa came out, was it not?
The Durand Sculptor?
Yeah, was it around Kaisa? Or no, probably Galio.
I don't know, my memory's starting to go, but I think you're right.
Yeah, around that time. I just know that I saw it I saw it in Kaisa decks because it was able to give just the tough keyword. That was kind of one of the ways they had access to it. I mean, I guess in this kind of deck, especially a formidable deck that is kind of revolving around HP, tough is just too banger of a keyword to not take. And it makes complete, absolute sense because now suddenly you're not only going to have to commit multiple spells, possibly even multiple units just to take the thing down. This is a Neela Nami. Hold up.
What? Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
I didn't make this.
Nami Neela. Let me see. This is run Shelly. No, it does not run Shelly. Octo Adventurer though. Sunken Temple, 3 of 3 Howling, 3 Mystic, 3 Divine Whirlwind, 3 Gotcha. Like we have all the spells and all the possible draw, and then 3 Wizened Helmsman. That's just what you have to do when you're playing Nami. You have to play so many spells to level her up reliably, but without the consistent draw or the 2/4 body of Janna, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how this deck chooses to survive. And I was talking earlier about
how Piltover and Zon has troubles trading into ToF. I mean, even when Jace locks back with the last Eternal Open was going around, I was playing Jack Sorn quite frequently at the time, and every single time I was able to find the ToF weapon and Ornn himself. That was when I felt that Jace locks just could not do anything against me. And that's just because the damage removal, Piltover and Zon has a lot of removal, yes, but it also relies on being precise with that removal. Because the decks that it struggles into are ones where they have to commit multiple spells to keep boards down. It's an Udyr Galio deck, by the way. It's not Volibear.
Yes, Udyr.
So that's catching me off guard again.
I kind of like it though. I kind of like it though, right? You have access to the stance package. Suddenly, these formidable units can either gain overwhelm, gain regeneration, or just gain a nice juicy 2/2, and it could really work in your favor, right? I guess also the Udyr comes down on turn 5 rather than having to wait till turn 7 or turn 9. Let's say if you didn't have any of the Sigils of Storm to bring down Volibear earlier. So I guess it could be a little bit quicker.
Douguito's hovering a spell here. Not sure what it is. Could be... Nope. I was thinking that it might have been a potential Hex Obliterator. But I think it's going to be something else. Shielded Duran is going to be canceling the effect of this anyway. Mystic Shot trying to keep the Nami alive, but Shielded Duran gets so much value here.
Absolutely. You know what? We're going to be on turn 6. Won't have mana to play a stance, but that's okay. We can... I mean, do we just let it survive and just play Udyr?
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh.
You know what? I dig it, right? Keep the board wide. You have champion strength next turn.
Bro.
Let's go again.
Okay.
You keep your board alive, you trade a unit off, and you can still go after Nami later on. Like, the trade there doesn't matter. I think it was a really good choice for Winte D Arc to buff the unit that they did, because even with that Mystic Shot, they realized, like, oh, Douguito's not going to be trading this unit off, and I can always use that as a challenger to pull things out of the way later.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen right now. Does Douguito have the answers to it? Probably not.
Rise with the surf.
All right, that right there reduces the answers quite a bit. I mean, no, because Whirlwind gets reduced by the amount that you draw, so it should be at 3 mana right now.
Yep. Unless it's been updrafted, which I don't
Unless
believe
it's been updrafted.
Let the tide carry you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Not the worst thing in the world. Got something. Still got to deal with 3 units. This other unit's at a 5/1, so it can trade into the Omen Hawk if it's not going to get challenged.
They might honestly challenge it. Like, yes, it does give them... They're challenging something with the Petricide Frogwing, regardless of what happens here. So, we know that's going through. But by pulling the Windborn Mariner out of the way, if Douguito didn't have Miriam to develop here, it would be forcing the block onto one of these other units with Nami.
Onto Nami. All right, let's hit Brock.
Thought there was more.
Already down to 6. We don't know what's in hand. Only have a Nami on board. I believe Nami should be either at 4 or 5.
I think 4. But
another Vulpine. We could also put Udyr down. That's gonna make the stance in hand free, or we can just simply go with Galio.
Galio would probably be the worst outcome for Douguito here.
Magic about.
It's guaranteeing more damage. Douguito has to have a unit. Has to find a way to trade things out here. Helmsman is not bad.
It's not like I looked at it, I was like, oh, you can get any elemental spell, but no, it's only the ones that you've played. And I believe we played Gale and we played Whirlwind, or no, Slipstream.
And Slipstream. Yeah, we played Slipstream.
Rise with the surf.
And wow, I mean, Winte D Arc's not even committing the board here because they know that they can just rest on their laurels a little bit here and wait for the Galio level up to come through. Douguito does commit a bit of spells onto Nami. She's not going to be able to level yet, but because the changes made to Nami, the counter that Nami has is for all Namis that you've played this round. We also discarded Mila there. Yeah, so it's like allied Namis have seen. It's like Pike's wording. If you want to think about that.
Like Pike's working. Okay. Ended up, and then we lost Neela. Still have Neela. Gonna go ahead and get that level up through. Issue is with this, we're only gonna be dealing 2 to everything. Does this go through spell shoot? I believe it does because it's not a skill. It's just kind of like an effect off of Neela's attack, so it should still hit Galio, bringing it down to 6.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same idea as
Lead us to their heart.
Iceveil Archer. It goes through spell shield. One of the main counters to Rumble back in the day too. I'm so retrospective today. I'm just like, oh, I remember back when, yeah.
I mean, and the interesting thing about you saying that is that, like, we kind of are seeing a lot of familiar decks, like, pull through. You know, we just mentioned earlier, Ashe LeBlanc is a great counter to some of the mid-range decks that are coming up. I mean, Jarvan Shen existed even back when, I mean, and if you want to go even further back, it used to be J4 Fiora, but, like, that list hasn't really changed as much with just the inclusion of J4, you know? And then, I mean, one of the most old-school decks out there being Scouts, you know, with Misfortune Quinn, having a few extra cards that it can kind of work with. Now, in terms of this swing, okay, getting the Omen Hope block, only going to be taking 3. Like, we have a stance. Okay, blocking Galio, we know we have spell shield, don't have to worry about it. We would need double 2 spells to deal with, so maybe what? 1 Divine Whirlwind and a Mystic Shot?
Be a lot committed, but I think that with Winte D Arc being at 15 HP, you're not going to be burning them very soon. Winte D Arc more forcing Douguito to have it. And I mean, if Galio goes down to 1 HP, it's not the end of the world for Douguito. We now have 3 HP, even is pretty small, but a regen's going to be coming through, so
yeah,
that won't matter nearly as much. So the onus is on them to play Tidal Invocation into Divine Whirlwind or something along those lines. To make sure that Galio can't stay on board anymore.
Okay, getting in their generation, I like it. Mystic Shot's gonna come down. We could single combat. Don't know if it's really worth it.
It is.
That's scary on 5 mana though.
Oh yeah.
Like 5 mana, 5 cards. Like mind you, we could get another stance, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. But now we see a spell that's being hovered. We're trying to decide whether or not we're gonna get our opponent to get another stance card. That's it through.
I wonder if Douguito has. I don't know if that counts though. Oh yeah, sure, no, going that direction. Of course, how could I have seen it any other way? I am the best player. I should have seen that coming, of course. How could I have thought of it any other way?
We still gotta deal with our overwhelmed Galio. I like don't think we have any answers for that whatsoever, unless it's it can't even be another explore card because that passes over priority, and then the spell itself is focus speed.
And this is the issue that Mila decks run into again, just big stats. What do you do with a 2/10 overwhelm regeneration formidable unit?
Die.
Yeah, I mean,
just die. I don't know.
Yes, that is exactly what you do at the end of the day. There's just not a whole lot you can do.
Shoot, give him tough. Tough. Call it a day. What is?
Yeah, play the Duran Sculptor. Give him tough as well.
It's all right.
Give us another one. I mean, if Douguito is confident in being able to deal a little bit of damage to this Galio on this swing, you're technically not dead to the Galio, but you do have other things to worry about. So,
like the Broadwing literally doesn't matter right now. If we play Udyr, but we'll have 2 mana left, so we can play an additional unit.
Play Volpine Wanderer. That's
I
not
can see
doing a whole
Vulpine
lot.
Wanderer first. That gives you the stance. Then you play Udyr. That gets you a free stance. Then you put Overwhelm onto Udyr. So that's 2 Overwhelm units. And a wider board that you now suddenly have to deal with.
That is true. Get the free stance. Get Overwhelm onto Udyr, maybe. So I think Udyr should be.
Isn't this getting old?
I don't know. Udyr's 2.
Because like note that this is still lethal. What, by 1? So we would have to. Oh. What are we working with?
Yep.
Gotcha in a whirlwind. Okay, brings us down to what? 2.
2. You could just Udyr stance swap for Ram stance.
Hey,
Vulpine
which way to
Wanderer Ram
spiritual
stance again, and
fulfillment?
you have lethal.
True. Yeah. We could just do that.
Ancient enemies are returning.
Ay.
Lead us to their heart.
Yeah, ops for the free one. Sure.
Yeah, because I'm overwhelmed. See, here's the thing. I think I would have like preferred just to do this before this swing, simply because of the fact that what is your opponent like really gonna do? They don't really have we have Howling Gale as a 2-of. We have Howling Gale as a 3-of, Mystic Shadow as a 3-of, Gotcha, Divine Whirlwind, but like we only have so much mana, especially since we're not running Janna in this. Not only are we not running Janna, but we don't have Sunken Temple on field. So we don't really have to worry about like the cards being discounted to that degree.
Right. I think Winte D Arc is just playing for the. Well, no, they don't have it. The Gallia level up is 25 HP. They have 21 on board. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like at this rate, like, continue.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, like, I feel that Winte D Arc is getting the most value by being able to swing for lethal next turn, definitely. But what if you had lethal this turn? You know? And what if you just played the double Ram stance? What would be stopping you from doing that with the Udyr on board and everything?
Yeah, like nothing really. There's no denial. They can't deny the spell. And like I'm trying to see like what could be the win con possibly, and it's like it doesn't really seem like there can be one because there's not even any elusive. Because normally, right, in the past when we've seen Nami played in decks, it's usually with elusives, right? You have Shelly, you have Burble Fish. If you're running the Ionia package, you have Wishu with the wait, what's the card called? I call it Whoosh because
Whoosh, yeah. I think that's like Vestayan Disciple.
Yeah, Vestayan Disciple. There we go. No, you had those elusives that you can suddenly buff, and now you're swinging onto your opponent with units that they can't block. But in this kind of deck, I understand like the reason why we didn't bring Janna is because we brought Teemo Janna, which is the champion strength deck that includes a very basically the same package, just in Demacia. But I don't know. Oh, it's an interesting choice, and that it is a choice. Maybe something to experiment with.
And even if you want to bring elusives nowadays, there is a list that is better than Nami at that right now. And that list specifically being Teemo Yumi. I don't know if that has been brought this evening. I could double check the stats. But Teemo Yumi, oh yeah, no, it's one of the more popular ones. It's like the 5th most popular one.
Like 7.
But Teemo Yumi, the way that deck works is just, I'm going to play a bunch of elusive units and kill you. And that's the whole idea of the deck. And that is the better version of Nami right now, because one, you don't have to wait for Nami, you don't have to wait for Burble Fish, which has been nerfed, you don't have to wait for Shelly to get on board and survive, which has also been nerfed.
Nami's been gutted.
Like Nami, I think
completely gutted.
I don't think anyone's crying over spilled Nami, so I think it's totally fine.
True. Because I feel like for Runeterra's existence from now and forward, and even going into the past, we're always going to see some kind of variation of like an elusive cheese, so to speak, where people are just kind of playing into that field. But I feel like they've kind of done a good job in the sense where like the elusive units, like mind you, they do have some power, but they're usually 1 HP. Like you can deal with it if you have a little something, whether it be removal and or if you're just bigger and just trying to rush them down in that sense, it can be dealt with. It's not the worst thing in the world. I still miss Freljord control specifically, because Freljord has been popular as of late, given with the inclusion card. But I would love to see either some Freljord control or some Shadow Isles control come back. Not necessarily Jace Heim, Speaking of which, where the heck did Jace Harp go? I'm assuming that it's because that there's so many buffs in the game that just it doesn't make sense to be continuing to play that deck because you're mostly either A, dealing damage, or maybe it's too slow.
Well, here's the thing. Janna Neela. And that's it. No, I'm kidding.
Janna Neela, that's it. That was
Janna Neela,
that's the conversation.
That deck being the most popular deck in the game right now has access to Howling Gale, which removes your champions really efficiently, and also has access to Divine Whirlwind, which removes your units really efficiently. But two of the biggest nerfs that happened to that deck recently, that I think is holding it back from even existing right now, is the Hextech Handler no longer grants health whenever it is summoned.
Oh,
so
that's right.
That's one of the big things. Now your units are much more easy to remove. Even if you get 3x of those and are able to buff your units over top of a lot of the removal that Janna Neela can dish out, you're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Yeah.
The other thing is that Epic Scrap Traption no longer has Brash. So if on turn 3 you summon a 6/6 with Brash and you're playing into Janna Neela and they only have a Neela on board that can block your things with, they're allowed to block with whatever they want now because that unit doesn't have an evasive keyword in the form of Brash anymore. So I think they're just those two things are the most recent ones that have taken it out of favor. And then combine that with the fact that Janna Neela, and I do apologize for mentioning this deck so much, but it is what is at the forefront of the meta right now. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, Howling Gale. I think it might have been Lucky or Jade, one of the people I play with in Noximus. But they said that Howling Gale is like Thermo Beam, but you're allowed to play other cards.
Yes! Oh my god! Absolutely! the way that clicked, it absolutely is Thermal Beam, but you can play other cards. And like the cheapest is gonna be his 3 mana, which is so easy to be able to have. What is going on? Hold up.
Eclectic Collection for 6 mana. It was buffed.
Buffed to 6?
Yeah.
Oh, Portal. Hey,
Portal
Lifesteal unit.
with Lifesteal unit.
Hold up, what is it? Hold up. What is this? Is this Shadow Isles Nora?
It is. It's Heimer Nora.
You said you wanted
to see some Shadow Isles control. Here you go. Here's your Shadow Isles control.
Shoot, I'm digging it. Let me take a look at this list real quick. Okay, Nora Heimer, which has been something that has existed, but kind of leaning into the portals with Jug Construct and Portal Scholar. Hate Cycle Harvest. Surprised not to see I believe it is a Vandal City card, the one that every time a portal, not every time a portal, but anytime a Trapper Boon is activated, it plants 1 in the deck, or I believe plants 2 in the deck. One of the newer cards that is a 0/3, I believe.
Mr. Thrift.
Yes, the Thrifter.
Yeah,
we're running easy Digglebugs. Okay.
That is some spice right there.
This is still scary though, because we have a whole leveled up Janna and a leveled up Neela.
That we do. Ooh, Eclectic Collection value, baby. Eclectic Collection. Funny enough, one of the more popular decks this evening, and I say like one of the more popular decks, it's 6 out of all of the decks present, so only like a 4.5% of the decks, 13% of the players bring it though, is Caitlyn Teemo. And that is a direct counter to Janna Neela. Now it has horrendous matchups across the board. Oh yeah,
horrendous matchups.
Absolutely terrible matchups.
It beats the main deck.
But Janna Neela, if you're gunning for that, you bring Caitlyn Teemo. You just trim up the board. Hey, by the way, those portals we were talking about earlier.
Look at this.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a little. Okay.
And Challenger. I think we just ripped a Sleazy.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're dead anyway because of Divine Whirlwind Mystic Shot. But yes, you do rip the Sleazy. You try to get this board all traded off, but despite your best efforts,
unfortunate.
You know, the Janna attack also brought them down to that
Away with you.
HP threshold, and didn't allow them to swing in with good old Tasty Feyfolk for the lifesteal. So even though Invencivel is taking 2 damage this turn, Impetos will be taking the final 4 for lethal there. Janna Neela, yeah, the little joyous Janna or Neela emote spam there. It's the deck to beat, it's the deck to ban.
Truly, this is
I like the
the
Hymernora,
greatest
though.
of joys.
Yeah, no, I feel like Hymernora, it could do a little something. It could do a little something. Like we got into that game pretty late because we did see the leveled up Neela and Janna, so we know that some things were really popping off in that game. They managed to draw, you know, almost practically all into the deck with 16 on the level up for Neela. Now, it's like, because when you're playing, like, let's talk about Eternal for a split second. When you're playing Eternal, you basically can't go below 12 with like the existence of burn. It kind of feels like that with Janna Neela, right? Maybe not to the same extent, but the way that you really have to think about your HP pool and, okay, how much burn can I realistically take? How much have they already played? Because I'm sure we've definitely seen games where they have just decided the rest of their hand is nothing but burn spells. They've got you down to like 10, he's like spell. Okay, you're done. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And it's spooky game plan. And I feel like there isn't really a lot of healing in Standard right now at all. Like, is there? I feel like there is, but maybe just not being played in the decks there are. I know the Jax, or and I guess any deck that plays the Weapon Master, the Blacksmith Weapons Master that heals. I know that was nerfed stat-wise, so it's easier to remove off the field if necessary. Can't really think of any other healing that anyone could be playing aside from maybe Spirit's Refuge and J4 Shen.
I mean, you can play Star Shaping Guiding Touch if you're playing Tarragon, but Tarragon's not very well positioned right now. There's that problem too. Let's see. Yeah, you have that. You have Piercing Darkness and Shadow Isles if you want to run with that. So, I mean, there are options out there, but yeah, it's not nearly as prevalent. It's not nearly as effective as it used to be. Like Catalyst of Eons, just burst speed healing and giving you a mana gem, is a card that we're not seeing anymore because it has been rotated out. And you know, you say like, oh, once you get down below 12 HP against Janna Neela, I've been on the delivering end of that, not on the receiving end of that, on the delivering end of that. And that's because Janna Neela has this really funny combo, depending on the cards that you bring, that you can do. So Windborn Mariner, right? Reduces its cost down to 0 if you've drawn 3 cards this turn.
Yes.
Pool Shark draws you a card at the start of a turn. So if you play Pool Shark, you play Miriam on the card that Pool Shark drew for you by shuffling the fleeting card back into your deck.
Okay.
Then that counts as 3 cards because you draw 1 from Pool Shark, 1 from Miriam, 1 from the start of the turn.
Yes.
Windborn Mariner costs 0. So even if you only have 1 Windborn Mariner in hand, for that turn, you can swing for 6 damage. And the cards are either a 1 attack unit that your opponent doesn't want to block because it's 1 attack. It's Miriam, who has an insane stat line, 2 mana, 2/3, or a quick attack unit with 3 attack, which most cards, if not all cards on turn 2, do not have the capability of blocking, aside from I think like Vanguard Lookout, which nobody plays. And so you can swing for 6 damage, and I found like 8 times out of 10 that my opponent will not block any of the damage from that attack. They'll go down to 14 or 13 HP if it's turn 3 and I've hit with Pool Shark already. And I immediately think to myself, oh, I'm winning. I've won. Like, they're at 13 HP and I've won. Because
insane. You have to respect the burn. You have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to prevent as much damage as possible, and it often requires you to take those negative trades, and that's not something that a lot of decks like to do. They're like, oh, well, I want these units for setup and everything. And yeah, it's just, it's insane. It's an insanely good deck. I think there are multiple points where you could nerf it, like making Windborn Mariner's cost reduction only go down by 1 mana instead of 2, and making it a 1 mana.
Okay,
that sort of thing.
I can dig that. I've thought about a Gale nerf, just making it deal 1 less damage, like only be able to go up to 4.
Oh,
but I don't know. I don't know if that would be too much on that card.
That'd be interesting. Like it still deals 2 at base, but it can only go to a maximum of 4.
Yeah,
I like it.
Or even make it, you can even bring it down, like the base is 1 and then it can go up to a maximum of 4. Just to kind of like keep it going with like, if they want to keep the theme of like, oh, play 3 cards and it reaches its max potential. Because that kind of seems to be like where it's at. Now, what on earth? This is Seraphine Heimer as a 1-of and set. We are running Pursuit of Perfection and we are fighting a Garen J4 Galio. So kind of going ahead and feed into the formidable package minus the Volibear, along with Champion Strength. We do have Balin the Benevolent. That's good. I know that unit had gotten nerfed where it's no longer buffing itself, but only buffs the other units around it instead. Or I should say the other formidable units.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nerf that makes sense. I like that nerf because it targets some of the power of the card itself without making it useless. It very much that was a very tasteful nerf, and I think that's I appreciate it when Runeterra does that because it just feels like, oh, I've been validated in my frustrations properly.
All right, gonna go ahead and see. Are we saving both? We are
saving both.
I mean, we have a strike spell in hand though. We have a juicy gentleman's duel that we can go ahead and put down. But what do you decide to kill, the Seraphine or the Heimer? I feel like I'd be leaning more towards Heimer because Heimer is gonna be able to produce spells off of, you know,
it ain't hand.
I mean, units off of spells. But mind you, we're in Ionia, and what is Ionia known for? Denial, and we have the Notify coming through to go ahead and counter this. We get to keep everything, almost everything.
Winte D Arc really just hitting Coral W with the nuh-uh.
Basically, that is the Ionian region. Mind you, now we have 3 more blockers, a Seraphine that we can also play. Because if anything, you know, with 4LW's deck, it doesn't necessarily have access to Overwhelm as a game mana, but more so trying to lead into the rallies, specifically Champion Strength, and being able to get your units strong, higher health pool than your enemies. Mind you, I don't see a Petricite Charger. We do have 3 in the deck. I know that probably would have been a great unit to have early on to be able to deal with these kind of spell-based decks.
Something I also noticed before the Heimer level up here was that the Gruesome Theater that Winte D Arc played was a 0-cost spell. So that created Tiny Arms Galio, but that created the Mark 0 Shredder. I'm not sure what the name of the exact turret is, but it's that 0 attack challenger unit. And because Winte D Arc blocked with a 0 attack unit, it is keeping this Jarvan 1 point off of level.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah!
Alright, gotta put the ticket in. Gotta do it.
Hey, you have to do it every time. But because Jarvan because the unit didn't take the strike from the 0 attack unit, Jarvan does the level here, and Winte D Arc is allowed to just do what they want with the Seraphine on board. Also, there's the buff Called Shot. I don't know if you remember, that card also got buffed recently. That's now a focus speed spell instead of a slow speed spell.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
We kind of don't want to swing. Like, we don't want to swing at all. It's so awkward because we don't want to have to give our opponent a rally.
A sturdy construction. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a problem. I mean, you do have Acorn going down. But yeah, like swinging with that. Ooh, hello, Set.
Oh?
Set. Set could be good here if this is enough to refill for his mana. Nope, it's not.
No.
Okay. Well. Isn't that just awkward? I mean...
We're swinging.
We are swinging, and that's because of the Brothers Bond in hand, I think. I think that's what Winte D Arc is eyeing in their hand here.
True, it does bring something up to 6, meaning that you're going to be able to kill.
And even if you don't manage to kill something here, the fact that 4LW's board is almost entirely made of formidable units, just trying to get units down in terms of HP is still just as valuable, because by removing their HP, you're also removing their attack. Now, a little surprised that Winte doesn't go for the swing with Acorn here, but
This is literally infinite blockers.
Yeah.
This is
This was the
ridiculous.
same thing. This is the same thing that Heimer was doing before, right? It was like, oh, what unit do you remove when Jason Heimer on board? It's like, you usually go for Heimer, actually.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what's this? We're gonna pick up on.
Pioneer action with the...
Okay.
And that, oh, that's probably to buff a formidable unit here.
I dig it. Gonna go ahead and buff this challenging unit so you can remove something off the field.
Get the queen off of the field.
Seraphine is gone. We don't have enough mana to be able to play a Mystic Shop.
Is that high note also a Seraphine, or is that a just regular high note?
Hard to tell. Level time.
Level 10.
Oh, shoot!
You do get those cataclysms now, so Winte D Arc's infinite blocker pack is not going to be able to stick around for too much longer. But the other thing that might not be able to stick around for much longer are 4LW's champions.
Mm-hmm.
The Jarvan, about to be obliterated by Set. So long as Winte D Arc has the space to play the champion. Now, funny enough, even though... Oh, nope, no snipes. But, oh, that's really funny.
Well, that's a bit of an awkward situation.
That is... Wow. That is
There goes the
not
rally.
ideal. Oh, and this challenger coming through here is awkward because of Mystic Shot. So
We have the counter for it, though. We would have to get something off of Sputtering to be able to stop this.
and if there's anything I've learned from Sputtering Song Spinner is that they always hit something.
Oh, letting it through?
Well,
Instead?
could also just be going for the Seraphine into Sputtering. Like that, you'll get more value out
True,
of that.
true. Yes, yes, you would.
Oh, okay.
Probably line them up. I guess
Monkey.
Shield Bolt. Proximity Puff Cap? Yeah,
Proximity Puff Cap actually removes a unit if they play it here. Which is really funny. You could even play Seraphine into the Proximity Puff Cap and kill Galio right now. Now Winter doesn't know what 4LW has in hand. And it's only a Petricide Broadwing, so it's not much to be worried about. So they'll play the turret instead. And Prox Puff Cap the Jarvan anyway. I guess, like, Winter's understanding that they have enough to trade into what 4LW is putting down here. Just considering the overall HP values, is like, okay, so if 4LW wants to safely, without committing resources, get a rally off of the Galio next turn, the only card they can swing with is Omen Hawk. Oh, hey.
Oh,
there's
rally.
a rally. Thanks for the flash bomb.
Man, but like, see, like, you know, on your point earlier, it's like, now that there were formidable units, it's like, what do we really do with this rally? We can't even kill Seraphine with only being with the Elixir of Iron and the Challenger unit. Yep, there goes the surrender.
That's what Seraphine does. You know,
Whittles you away.
just whittles you away, gets all the right answers all the time, finds the cards that it needs.
It just gotta be like that. I mean, I think what's really funny is that the Heimerdinger is a one-of, so for Heimerdinger to have put in so much work as a one-of makes you curious.
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
yeah.
Some units you just gotta deal with, and sometimes those one-ofs, they really carry you.
What's really funny about the way that Heimerdinger works is that Heimerdinger works so that he creates turrets every single time that he sees a spell played, and he creates a turret equivalent to the value. Now, if you have the Seraphine on board, and you're making all the 2-mana spells, then you create two 2-mana blockers in hand.
Ooh,
But
here we go.
the same thing doesn't apply to Set's level up, I found out, which is very strange. Like, Set also says, I've seen you play 12 mana worth of cards, but if you're doubling things with Seraphine or Karma, it only counts for that first play, which is very interesting. It's just like riot wording not working in Set's favor for whatever reason. But I mean, maybe it's kind of good that it doesn't, because set
It would be
decks are.
spooky. It would be kind of spooky.
Yeah, it would be a little spooky. Like you play Karma set, you cast Vengeance, Karma doubles Vengeance, and then set creates an Obliterate in hand immediately for 6 mana. Like, that would be a little too much.
I think, how do you feel about both these scans that we started with? I kind of like the fact that we started with the Solani weapon. I think we have a pretty decent curve. We're going to have Broadwing into Badger Bear, into Ranger Knight.
You were talking about this card last game. It shows up as an apology for this one.
As an apology. The one time we don't really need it. Being a 0-5 though right now with ToF is kind of spooky though. Mind you, we could trade off one unit if we want to. Obstinate Swing. Ooh, Aatrox.
Aatrox is nice. RKD is pretty nice too. Ranger Knight Defector. Second Bloodletters is going to be played, so basically
you know what's
daring 4LW to block this.
Ooh. You know what's crazy? We will have access to Condemn this turn because we're going to end up getting 2 attacks if we decide to, you know, do the 2 swings. So we're guaranteed to take out a unit. Actually, maybe not necessarily guaranteed. I can't say that because we do have Sky Spitter and the Elixir of Iron to protect the Charger.
That's a lot of resources committed for a 4 mana 05 or 04. That's kind of how I feel like a lot of our reactions have gone this evening.
It really has, though. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Those things go, oh. Oh.
There it goes. There it goes. See? Okay, are we going to get Sky Splitter down? Is it worth it?
I don't think it's...
I guess 2 for 1?
If you thought that I was going to go and say I don't think it's worth it, you didn't hear me say anything, okay?
Yeah.
That was just like a little bit of a... There was like some overlay going on with the overlap going on with the broadcast there. I guess like you do want to keep this board alive so that Garen can buff it up again.
Yes.
In my mind, I would have been, it's a 1 mana unit. I don't want to throw a Sky Splitter and other buffs on there. Or the Elixir of Iron is the one. Big Garen damage though. Second Sky Splitter is also drawn, so never punished. 4LW there. Official title. That should be, you know what? That should be a banner that you can get. In you can be like the Navori Initiate or whatever if you've done enough Gauntlet matches. One of them should be never punished.
Never punished.
Yeah.
No, because that other game where we had Udyr, we lost Udyr, it literally drew into another Udyr. It's like, oh, okay. Not punished. Yeah. We're fine. We're fine.
Never punished.
Okay, good. I like this. I feel like often that anytime I see players that are playing with the Zolani package, specifically the one that is of Dark and Bloodletters, you kind of see them opt for the equipment rather than Zolani on turn 6. I've seen a few, had a few tournaments where I've seen that. I'm just like, I think I over what was necessary here. It's okay. I know it's spooky to use all your mana, but who's dealing with her? Garen? Who's a 5/5? I mean, mind you, we can use Sky Spitter, but it's not going to kill the Zolani. It'll just prevent the damage.
There was even a post that someone had about, I don't know if you know of the Hearthstone content creator Raran, but
I don't believe so.
Raran, I know him because he has done collaborations with Snooey in the Legends of Runeterra community, and Raran's actually been playing Legends of Runeterra lately. And I think it was a post by Ikado who had like a screenshot of Raran playing some Darken equipment deck, and said something to the effect of, "Oh my God, he's playing the Darken as their actual units and not just as equipment. He's bound for greatness," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
They're really just like playing to the effect of how important it can be to play these Darken units, because they are, quite honestly, very powerful.
Absolutely.
And can't be understated. And they free draw an Aatrox too in this list, because that's just how Aatrox works.
Ooh, Tempting Prospect. Oh, this is a problem.
That is
To me,
That is
we have a
quite
common
the board.
enemy.
Like Garen now being a 6/9 with regeneration, there is no way of really dealing with that. We can block still.
Why would you pull the can't block unit though? Why would you not just like why
Question mark?
What?
Maybe going. Are we going for the level up instead?
I think we are. No. Okay, yeah, we're going for level. That was just very strange in my mind. World W sees the vision. They want to get the Galio level up. They know that they have the rally with Garen as well. So they rally with Garen. They attack this turn. They lose a unit. Doesn't matter. Rally again. And that's how they're gonna win this game. But it looks so strange to me because I just thought, oh, you could be pushing a lot more damage here by not pulling the can't block unit. But egg on my face. Good old World Ender being popped here, which reduces the cost of all Darken allies as long as Aatrox is on board by 5. So that does mean that Winte D Arc can play Zolani for free. Not anymore, though. If Zolani were to be played this turn, they would have to kill another unit. And if 4LW goes in for the trade onto the Dark Enthrall here, that does mean that Winte D Arc doesn't have any good targets for the Zolani. Oh, and hey, Explorer's malfunction, so your Aatrox can no longer regenerate. So that's a little added insult to injury in there. The second Zolani play just for a walker, but wow.
These the rally though, like we can simply just swing into this. I mean,
you can swing and get another rally.
Yeah. Like, take away something that's... I mean, I guess here, what we're kind of like running into right now is the fact that, you know, with this deck, we don't have access to Overwhelm, so we are having to chew through really beefy units. And, you know, given that our primarily damage is formidable, we're suddenly losing... Oh, Balin's coming through. We're suddenly losing damage. And not even trading fully. Which I think...
Winter just has to wait.
I think 4LW kind of realized that, which is why we opted for the Balin, because now we can bring some. We can bring the Hound up to a 1/7, which can trade into either Zolani's. Galio's just big as hell. We could pull something with the Challenger unit. I think we're close to lethal, but I don't know if we have it exactly.
So you can't kill Aatrox in one swing right now, no matter how you attack. Like, if 4LW attacks and you pull the Aatrox with the, the Explorer, I don't know the name of the card, but if you pull it with the Explorer at the end there, then Aatrox kills it. Sure, you get the rally back with Galio, but then Aatrox could trade another thing off the board. And it's just going to be the Balin swing. Okay, no, I like it, right? Because even though Balin swings, you buff the Petricite Broadwing in hand. You're just getting more formidable damage down. Then, even if this trade comes through, you still have a full board to swing with on the rally effect, right?
Yeah.
And if Winte D Arc doesn't block here, though, then 4LW wastes a rally. Gets 4 damage. Sure. Buffs all the other formidable units, sure. But this allows for more healing, a unit trade, a couple other things to go right. So it's just like, what do you block with? What are you trading with?
I would have been tempted to not block.
Yeah.
This is tricky. Like, I really don't know how you like deal with this double rally situation.
We do what is right.
Pulling Aatrox first is interesting too. I guess if you're not guaranteed lethal, then pulling Aatrox first makes sense.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, I don't...
Garen will regenerate. We're still pretty beefy. We've gotten our opponent's units weaker. Are we trying to play around the fact that we have formidable and we're trying to like basically get them down to the point where they're dying to maybe Garen instead, or to any of the other units that we draw into.
Realistically, I think what 4LW is trying to do with that turn is just waste Winte D Arc's attack token. Like, make things worse and worse for them as the turn goes on.
Yeah.
Patricite Hound's a good draw, too, because it gives another challenger unit to pull things out of the way with it. Yeah, I was like question mark pinging that last turn play, but no, 4LW, knowing how much they were allowed to commit for resources there, and just playing around there being, oh, maybe a second Aatrox in hand, or a strike spell of some kind to keep them sustained and all of that. Really just being patient about whittling down what Winte D Arc has. But there is still that imminent threat of the fact that Winte D Arc has reduced cost Darken allies. Like, as soon as a spear is drawn or a harp, or oh hey, there's a harp. But as soon as these units, other units are drawn, 4LW starts to slip a little bit in terms of unit value. But it's a staring match as far as it goes for now.
Ooh, Staratu. Oh, I mean, I feel like we definitely have to somehow, in some way, shape, or form, take advantage of the Gentleman's Duel.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Well, we got Form Up and Gentleman's Duel. That's 3 HP. That's 2 HP, so that's 5 in total. That's 6. That would get us past, so we can take out the Garen.
You could even Gentleman's Duel and Badger Bear this turn, and then just have blockers enough for the second rally.
I think what like makes it awkward is just that the Zolani will be going back into... Wow, a pass.
Whoa.
Huh. Like, what makes it awkward is Zolani will go back into the hand, then you can put it on a different unit and kind of just like recycle the Zolanis. Oh, our own strike spell.
A lot of unit math going through here. But I think Winte D Arc sees the lethal line potentially here with Overwhelm, if at all possible.
I think it is. Like, we only have one strike spell to deal with. It can't. We have.
Oh no.
1, 2, 3. We have 3 strike spells on the side of Winte D Arc. 4LW only has 1. Here he goes. Here's.
Okay, so it does work that way. That's really interesting. Oh, and Gentleman's Duel doesn't even save here, right? No, it does, because second Gentleman's Duel and along with Condemn gets Winte D Arc lethal through here, because that's 4LW's last card.
Yes, the very last card. Wow, we played around it. We had a level up Garen and a leveled up Galio.
It's just a staring match.
Yeah, it was a staring match until we had the strike spells. We needed the answers to get through the units, because the only way we were really going to win that match was through Overwhelm, right? One of the most powerful game-ending keywords in the game that our opponent simply does not have access to, right? And not only that, we have Zolani, which is a unit that can recycle itself, right? As long as we're putting blockers down and equipping that equipment, hey, we get another blocker, boom, kill something, and now we have a Zolani that's a 7/7. It's an awkward situation to be in, because it's like, I don't want to kill this. I also don't want my units to be too low, because now I do have to think about the fact that there is Overwhelm on the field from 3 different units. So in that case, it was like, yeah, we're playing a waiting match to see what cards we get. We saw how enthusiastic Winte Arc decided to play the Staratu, because we know, hey, Staratu's going to get us 2 free, not necessarily 2 free cards, but 2 cards that are discounted, which is going to draw us further into the answers that we're looking for. Good. That was well played. It was awkward. Like, we're looking at it, we're just like, how do you navigate this? Like, it really was just kind of like, we gotta wait. We gotta just wait.
That was, yeah. I think that it was good to see the line in terms of punching in with Overwhelm for one, because that's what Winte D Arc knew that they had in order to push for lethal, something that they had in terms of an advantage over their opponent. Like Galio Garen, like Galio Freljord just in general, no matter what you pair it with, really, like you said, does have that issue of no Overwhelm. We did see the stances giving Overwhelm earlier for Galio in the Galio Udyr, but aside from that, yeah, generally is just a high unit density that tries to overwhelm and take over the board. But as soon as you're running into something like Aatrox that can trade things down, that has overwhelm available to it as well.
Yeah.
Where does that line get crossed? And when do you just start kind of waiting for the other person to make a mistake? And I think that is ultimately what it came down to, was one, who had the better draws, and two, who was the first one to blink. And for LW, unfortunately, because of the position that they were put in with the Gentleman's Duel being drawn, in fact, there were 2 of them that were drawn there, was forced to blink first. And that's just how it ends up going. I find it's really weird that, what's the Patricite Charger takes damage from a strike spell, but Swain counts strike spells as out of combat damage. And so you would think that the spell wouldn't deal damage to the Patricite Charger, but it's just riot wording again. Another
it's a little weird, but I think it is the fact that the damage is from a strike and not the spell itself. That's the awkward part. It's because like it's saying I don't take damage from a spell, but technically the damage isn't being dealt by a spell. The spell is causing 2 units to strike, which does, let the damage through. It's weird. But like, hey, it technically is worded like that and is legal. It's not a bug or anything. That's just how it is.
It's such a weird little loophole that you have to go through to get to that conclusion. Because I can imagine for anyone who's probably first playing Legends of Runeterra, and they're like, I understand how to read cards, and then they read the card, and the card doesn't do the thing that they read. Yeah, that can be a little frustrating. That's why I don't read cards. I just kind of play them.
I don't read cards. I'll just play it and I'll figure it out. It is what it is. Like, it'll happen. It'll happen.
I have 4 mana. I have a Janna. I will use these in conjunction with each other. But that's it's a little underselling my abilities.
Let's take a look at the matches that are going to be coming up. We do have Enlace versus Invencivel, and we also have Winte D Arc versus Prism. Let's take a look at Winte D Arc and Prism's decks, because we just saw that right now, and it's kind of like fresh on the mind. So we know Winte D Arc is bringing Galio Udyr, Aatrox Vayne, Heimerdinger Seraphine set. Galio Udyr and Aatrox Vayne, very similar, right? The 2 mid-range decks that are meant to get really big units, while the outlier kind of is this Seraphine Heimerdinger package, which is many one-ofs kind of playing into the Pursuit of Perfection pile, or simply just the set. The set Seraphine being able to pop off. But I mean, when we saw it played, we did see the Heimerdinger actually get played, which is really nice. And then Prism, as we know, is already going to be playing. We have a Jess Senna. No, wrong person.
No, you're looking at the wrong person.
Where's the real Prism? Okay, I found the
row 34.
Row 34. Seraphine said Jananila and Diana Samira. Diana Samira, we know, although Samira is nerfed, can work really well with the Invoke package, especially with Cosmic Call. Neela Janna, we know it. Some of us love it. Some of us hate it. It does the thing that it needs to do. And then the Seraphine set package. This time we're back Ali Bar, which is something that isn't, I believe, in the version with Winter. Let me just double check real quick. Yeah, all we have is double.
Board space.
Proto Pioneer. Yeah, all these one-ofs. It's interesting. Calling some Fuse Caustic. Now, I wonder how often, is the main win con for Seraphine set really just the Pursuit of Perfection?
Yeah, I mean, the other win con for Seraphine set is just kind of the same thing with Piltover and Zon, where if you remove enough units off the board, you're just able to swing for damage anyway. But yeah, no, Pursuit of Perfection is the main win condition. That's what you're generally aiming for. And because of the way that Seraphine set works, you draw through cards so often, you get your deck so low that you're basically guaranteed to eventually find the big cat. It really is like Seraphine Samira with the Noxus.
Okay.
Though back in the day when you ran the Plaza Guardians, right? You're just looking for the Plaza Guardians, waiting to stall out, and then you play those units to combo out for a win. And that's kind of what this deck reminds me of. Not in exact execution, but in principle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the principle of the matter. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's strong. Seraphine has always been strong. Sometimes you can find her in a really nice pile. I don't know how prevalent we're going to see her in this weekend's World Qualifiers, but we'll see. Right now we have ToF Desoyamentes versus Invencivel. Now we have Jana Damacia, so we know this is a champion strength deck versus the Galio Udyr. Gonna go ahead and get down the Gentleman's Duel, making sure that we trade off this Jana. Say goodbye. And we keep Balin. That's huge.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're freaking bailing out here.
We got the Petricite Charger too, so we don't have to deal with the spells. Ooh, and the top deck Sky Splitter, so we can even save our unit if we need to.
Which way to spiritual fulfillment?
No champion strength with Desoyamentes either. That's a fun word to say. I don't know what it means. I don't speak Spanish or Portuguese, so
We will learn.
But Desoyamentes, I don't know. That's also another fun word to say. Lots of fun words to say this evening. Ooh, single combat to shorten this board. Exactly what you need to do against champion strength decks. And if you can keep your board wider with all of your formidable units, you're generally on the path to victory here. Nice little updraft for Desoyamentes with the Miriam. Finds the Clockling, the augmented Clockling. So another elusive unit that you can put a champion strength buff onto. And the Predict will be able to find you those cards if you so need. Now, not the collection of cards that you exactly want to be drawing into here, and Invencivel will be very well equipped to continue chipping this board down here. And not exactly the greatest selection of cards to draw into either, so probably just going to go for the Windborn Mariner and call it a day.
A part of me wants the Teemo level. Mind you, probably wouldn't have gotten it because we're going to get dragged anyway, but a bad whirlwind. Only 1 mana, our opponent can't counter it. Gonna opt to go ahead and kill the Udyr, which is the smarter play because we don't want to get any stances. Or I guess any more, a free stance, I should say.
Dealing 2 damage to face. Champion strength with burn is just a terrifying sentence.
It really is.
Yep. Have a champion strength deck. Oh, cool. And has burn overhead. Oh, no.
It's just, oh no.
Just looking for a sign.
Ram stance does kill a unit here. The boar stance is better.
Challenger.
Always going to have that available.
I feel like some players might be inclined to put on Petricite Charger because you know that unit can't really be interacted with well, but it is always better to put on the challenge unit because that will always give you more control over the board. For sure.
Another 10 in the deck.
Oh, champion strength.
Hello. Now, the problem does arise where Invencivel does have that single combat, plus Sky Splitter. I mean, you could realistically buff this Petricite Broadwing up to... Oh, I saw that. I like that idea. But you can potentially buff this Broadwing up to 9 damage. Form up is going to be used to save the Teemo here. Only the Windborn Mariner will be the casualty of this Ram stance here. But single combat will also most likely be thrown out to take down the Teemo here.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we have to. We're going to be getting... we have to respect the burn, and we have to... I mean, the shrooms itself are burned, right? There is a chance we draw into all 9 of them. A slim chance, but it still exists. Look, a shroom.
Don't Caster's Curse him like that. Oof, that's not the draw you want to see, though, after predicting for one of those.
Not at all. Like, this Galio's going to come down. Oh, open swing instead?
I mean, yeah. You're not wanting to give your opponent too many opportunities to develop anything here. Just take your damage and run with it, really.
Yeah.
Besides, Galio heals everything, so fun.
There we go.
No rest until
Who's got the small arms? Galio does. That level up of Galio, it's so goofy to me every time. Because Galio just looks like the stance at the end of it, of the end of the animation there, looks like the Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox kind of stance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Mom said it's my turn on the PlayStation or whatever.
Not the PlayStation.
Oh, wait. No? Well, potentially.
Wait. Oh
fine.
man.
7-man in champion strength.
It's the elusive. It was literally just the elusive.
Yep.
Just the elusive. Unfortunate. I mean, I guess for that specifically, all we had was either Gentleman's Duel. Yeah, it needs to be Gentleman's Duel, Blocking Badger Bear, or Single Combat. Those are the only options we would have had to be able to counteract that.
And we already burned one earlier, so the chances of drawing into that were even less. I guess Three Sisters could have also been a thing.
Oh, Legion Marauder.
What in the world?
Oh, LeBlanc Ash with Legion Marauders? I dig it.
That's... yeah?
Hold up. What's up?
Now, the funny thing about
Look at this.
Frostbite is that Frostbite doesn't do well against formidable units.
In any way, shape, or form. In
That's just
any
kind of the
way,
funny
shape, or
thing.
form.
Like, oh look, I have Ice Spell Archer. Bro, nobody asked. Like,
Wait,
Ice Spell Archer does nothing.
like, is this... Hold on, let me read Ash real quick. So basically, you can't even level up Ash.
No, you can.
You can't. It still goes through?
It still goes through. It's a very weird interaction, right? Like, so Brittle Steel will register that you're trying to frostbite something and reduce its attack to 0. So then it'll just reduce the attack to 0. And I think that Ash reads that attempt of reducing attack to 0 as still counting for her level up. It's very strange.
Okay, because the way she reads, it sounds as if formidable. It don't work.
It don't work. Just like this Legion Marauder ain't gonna work anymore. He's getting traded by Sky Splitter.
I feel like it for Legion Marauder. I'm looking at this deck list right now. I mean, I like the Legion Marauders. I've always thought they were cool. I used to try to play Karma Marauders, but not sure how well it will do in an Ash LeBlanc deck when you're only running the unit and not the spell. Mind you, the spell is a bit clunky.
Yeah, the Strengthen Numbers, is that the name of the card?
Yeah, possibly.
That will pass. I don't like where any of this is going. Most likely an Explorer's Blunder? No, I'm just gonna take the Cup of Cocoa. And even if Ash is developed here, so we'll see if my statement was correct, and I'm pretty confident saying that it was. Actually, no, we won't. Ash is dead. Most like, oh, Desoyamentes sees that there's a spell that's floated over the stack and says, "All right,
no, gonna pass, gonna pass. Goodbye. Not dealing with it."
I mean, that was a lot of mana burned by Invencivel, but I think that they can afford to do it considering the state of the board right now. Coaling Strike is something that Desoyamentes wishes they had right now, too.
I need just a
Absolutely.
moment.
Why is there so much passing going on this game? What's happening?
Great question. I mean, we got to this point now. This is a really powerful swing.
Knocked and ready.
Aha! I will frostbite your Galio. You fool.
My life for Avarosa.
This is so awkward.
Stand and defend.
This is so goofy.
I mean, we got blockers?
8, 6 is 14 plus 6 is 20, plus 12 is 32. So yeah. At the round end, you do... Oh! Wow.
I would have been tempted to put the 6/7 to block the Galio. That way you can try to put damage on it and then challenge it with your attack token. But I guess it gets countered anyway because we do have double Gentleman's Duel. There goes the Ash.
I think both these players are bad at math, right? No? No, never mind. They're fine at math, actually. They're top of their class in mathematics. But
I believe them.
that was
I'm not counting. The way that that blue eye is that blue eye is my friend. Counting, I can do it. Not a bad board state, right? We have two units to one. Ours is pretty beefy. You have a Sky Splitter, one Frostbite. Well, this Frostbite can't do anything.
and a rally for attack token. Sorry, not a rally. Oh, something with a frostbite. Desoyamentes rips the Icefall Archer at the soonest opportunity there.
And this is where
attack token.
This is where it gets a little bit awkward in terms of like fighting this deck, right? Your units need to be bigger. And like I was watching, I believe Majin Bay earlier, and he was kind of talking about the Galio deck, Galio deck in the sense that it was either that or like a different kind of Galio deck, but saying that it's kind of like a mid-range killer because they need something that's bigger than you, and more than likely you're going to be bigger than the other mid-range decks, like as we're seeing here with Ash LeBlanc, because simply can't get their attack power where they need it to be able to fight off these huge, ginormous, formidable units.
Well, you also have to think about the policy or the idea of Ash LeBlanc, right? The entire reason why that deck does well is because you have these early game 5 attack units that like to punch in for damage by removing units or hitting Nexus and all that. And they are best aided by Frostbite because they make those 5 damage attacks much more potent by reducing your attack to 0. They make those trades unfair. And so when you run into something like Galio that has Formidable, you can't reduce the attack unless you're reducing their health by interaction, and your main interaction is just trading health states. Yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. Speaking of having a bad time, Invencivel is also playing Janna and Nilo, which is one of the worst matchups for Ash LeBlanc as well on paper. So we'll have to see if that paper notes translates into game. And stats say it will, but the next few minutes will reveal the truth.
I mean, I guess we do kind of have a good hand with like double challenge where we can like remove units off the field. Mind you, I think next turn we don't want to open swing. I think we do pass because we want to see if we can bait out of Janna. Gotcha's coming through.
Sky Splitter is gonna say no. No, never mind.
I think we can probably let it pass simply because we have a second one.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
A chill in the air.
You know what? It's not bad.
For glory.
I mean, Invencivel obviously wants to develop the Janna this turn. He'll take 5 damage in exchange for a Miriam to play the Janna, and double shuffle, I would say, the elephants. Yep. That's and they're off to the races. Here we go. 3 cards for the price of 1 at this turn.
Where do you stand on cold?
Shall we buff the entire deck? Yes, we will. Next turn we can get some serious draw going.
Leap of faith, huh?
Oh.
You'll catch me, right? Dusting off the fist.
That is. Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed damage, really. I mean, you don't even have to commit this this Mystic Shot here, and you don't.
Ooh, going for the damage onto the Nexus instead. Gonna go ahead and allow the trade to go through.
Yeah, but Desoyamentes just has Brittle Steel to prevent that from happening. But I think that they might feel that their Brittle Steel is best suited to frostbiting something on a more lethal turn, or using it on this turn where they have the Trifarian Glory Seeker. I keep forgetting the name of the card. Maybe better suited to keeping the Trifarian Glory Seeker's trades healthy. Heavy Metals thrown in.
Yep, there goes the Mystic Shot.
Mystic Shot to follow. Janna will be staying on the board voluntarily for a little bit longer. And even though Desoyamentes gets 5, it's not going to be enough.
Rethink your choices.
Lethal right now. Gonna have to take these blocks. This Desoyamentes is putting a lot of pressure onto Invencivel. And with that being said, I don't think we're really gonna get the opportunity to play Temple. I mean, would this be the time to play Temple? I guess so, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, we don't have the units to block next round. We already have activated Reputation, so if we get the rally cut, that could be a bit scary because we have 2 of in the deck.
Yeah, and that's where the matchup does lean towards the Ash LeBlanc side of things. And considering that you do have the Trifarian Intercessor has been buffed by these Avaros and Hearthguards, and then you have 2 other 5+ attack units, and Legion Marauder's big too, so that's kind of nice. Desoyamentes is allowed to draw into a lot of cards here and have a hand that resembles what Janna is putting down right now. But without that Trifarian Glory Seeker being allowed to connect and remove the champion from the board, that level up could be spelling disaster here.
Oh, there's the rally.
There it is. You have the rally. You have the big Legion Marauder as well. I think I saw that got +3/+3.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Invencivel needs to find lethal. We have Janna getting some draw, blah blah blah. That would be it. We have 5 right now in hand if we decide to commit the Mystic Shots to the Nexus. Would it have been against playing Wizened Helmsman to see if we can find some more elemental spells that could either A, buff Janna, or B, deal more damage to the Nexus?
I think you're looking more for, well, I mean, we draw back to the Wizened Helmsman twice anyway, so who cares, but
it doesn't be like that with Sunken Seppa. What are these cards like?
Yeah,
we just got our whole hand back.
Yeah, that's the Sunken Temple for you.
This is ridiculous.
Oh man, I mean, Trifarian Assessor did get some nice value for Desoyamentes as well, but I mean, yeah, here's Gotcha. Here's a Frostbite to prevent a trade.
Mm-hmm.
But Invencivel is going to have the space and the time allotted to themselves to do pretty much whatever they want here.
Yes.
I mean, sure, you might lose the Janna on this rally swing, but that leaves Desoyamentes with nothing else to play this turn. And Invencivel can develop a 4-mana Wizened Helmsman, get 2 of those spells back that were played this turn for free. So now you have
Whirlwind,
the ability to trade up into something and remove something from the board.
Rally's here.
It's going to be Howling Gale.
8 HP, tough to beat.
But not impossible, actually. I think if you play Howling Gale... Wait, if you play Howling Gale and Divine Whirlwind, you could have killed it. But you don't need to, right?
Yes.
No Overwhelm. So, blocks 1 and plays Divine Whirlwind on 2, takes 1 damage this turn.
We're on 6 right now, so we're basically on...
Oh, we're basically dead.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, we're dead. Hold up. We're just straight up dead.
Yeah.
This is gonna come through unless we draw into what, a Frostbite, I guess. But even then, like our opponent's swinging incredibly wide. I don't even know if a Frostbite helps us.
Yeah, Desoyamentes is seeing the writing on the wall. Not only do you get 2 extra draws from the Cloud Winder, but you also get an extra one from Janna being level 2.
Double Janna.
Oh, and double Janna, and an Eye of the Storm base, and another Eye of the Storm. So it's like, yeah, that's why that matchup does not do well. Because funny enough, even though you have Frostbite and you have access to a lot of the Freljordi and defensive spells, Janna is just able to say like, okay, cool, your LeBlanc has 2 HP. I'm going to kill that with a Mystic Shot. Your Trifarian Glory Seeker has 1 HP. I'm going to hit that with Divine Whirlwind and hit your face with it. Okay, cool. Your Avaros and Hearthguard's a 5/6, but I have 0 mana 3/1s that I can use to just jump block it indefinitely. And that's why that deck does not do well into Janna Nila, but Nardarius does because it has Overwhelm.
Yeah, simply because they can go through it. That's it. It's literally because they can go through it. They have access to ToF to some degree, and like the buffs I think are just so like they're so much grander than just a simple spell. Like you play 1 buff, whether it be the Trinimir spell. The heck is the
Battle Fury.
Battle Fury. You play Battle Fury, that's what, 4 HP?
Yep.
It becomes 8/4? Like that's a lot, especially on all of these other bigger units. Like the reason why I think Janna Nila, like you were saying, can like do well into some of these other decks, it just jump blocks you. Jump blocks you and just burns you out. And if you don't have anything to answer the elusive, well, I guess you're just dead. because it's gonna chip away, and all they have to do is chip away to a certain degree, and good to go. Would it be too crazy to let Divine Whirlwind be a choice? You can either A, deal the Nexus, or B, choose a unit, not both.
I mean, you're just looking at worst Mystic Shot at that point, right?
Basically, in a sense.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I can kill a unit, or I can shoot Nexus. Like, yeah, you just Mystic Shot at that point. I think Divine Whirlwind could potentially go up 1 mana. Janna, if you wanted to nerf her package, maybe she only updrafts 1 to draw 1. You know, like, just reduce the draw impact of the deck overall. And I think you've tackled a lot of the problem that Janila brings. What I don't want to see from Riot is mana or stat nerfs to that deck, because we saw Exalted Cloudwinder
Get a stat nerf. Went down to by 1 power.
Sorry, I just saw the madness that was happening on screen, and I didn't know what I was looking at for a second there. But yeah, no, we saw Cloudwinder go down in 1 attack, and the card is still being played because it's not being played for its stats. It's being played for the fact that it draws you 2 cards and reduces its cost.
Yes. It's just like
So
it's just all the fact that there's like so many cards are just being reduced to a certain degree. It's like, damn, how the heck do you even deal with this?
Yeah.
Like, you have to play around literally cheap cards.
It's so silly. I think at the end of that last game, Prismsword surrendered because there was a big cat on the board.
Oh, we released the big cat.
Yeah, they released the big cat. So,
understandable.
Match 2 of Cosmic Call up against AQV, Aatrox Quinn Vayne. I don't know, just AQV. It's a interesting little card.
I wanna say that Winter. What are all these 1-drops? First off,
Steadfast Elkin.
Okay, I was gonna say I feel like Winte D Arc is in favor with this deck in particular, because I feel like if we are able to like draw into Ranger Knight and get that going, it can put a lot of pressure on the opponent. Additionally, now that everything is tough, say goodbye to that. What was this? Was this Dark and Lodestone? Dark and Lodestone. That's a good one to get rid of too, because that would have could have been a spell shooter in the future, as well as just continually buffing the rest of the board.
Yeah. And is rather short for Winte D Arc as well. But some high impact items. Explorer's Malfunction has got to be picked here pretty much every single time. I'd assume so, at least. The one that destroys the equipment. Yeah, like you're against an equipment deck. You take the one that destroys the equipment. And funny enough, I played into the Portal Pioneer card, the one that's also an Explorer. While I was playing, I think Kane Aatrox on ladder, and in that scenario, I was like, okay, well, they might have just taken the destroy equipment one. So I tested it. They didn't. They played a second one, and then I was like, oh, well, now they've taken destroy equipment, and then I just played the Darken. Like, I didn't care about their and Living Legends hit by Prismsword, so that's cool. But I played the Darken. I didn't care that they had the destroy equipment because I was able to play my Darken how I wanted. Now, speaking of playing how you want, how does Winter want to play this round?
I feel like we can drag draw. I'm not against it. Like, if I have no mana.
Prism went for the early Cosmic Call.
Like, this is an insanely good hand for Winter. Like, having all of these low drops, not only that, we were able to draw into Geralt, which basically inhibits our opponent from doing anything. And, like, with the risk of just having to play the call, like, what can we get here? Golden Sister's nice, 3 mana. Okay. Golden Sister could be really good.
Golden Sister gets you a double block here, but you can also Vayne attack here. So that's a bummer.
I mean,
I think the lifesteal might be... Wow, I mean, Prismsword's not even dead here. That's the crazy thing. Yeah. Without Darken Harp, Winte D Arc actually can't push all too much. And on this next turn, Winte D Arc swings. Prismsword has enough for the Cosmic Celestial Wonder. I always forget the name of the card.
Yes.
But it's Celestial Wonder. Or even Star Shaping, you know, that even heals more. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty good turn. Honestly, you're up to 10 HP. You're in no danger of a stat buff coming through to kill you. I mean, how do they add 6 damage onto this attack? They realistically cannot do that.
Yeah. Surprised.
Well,
I mean,
3, but yeah.
like, I would have loved to have seen Zolani come down, but like knowing that we're playing against Tarkin, we do have to anticipate what kind of spells that they're going to be getting from it. And Obliterate is a bitch. We don't want to deal with that. So it is probably better to go with the open swing. But even so,
you know what's crazy though?
Yeah.
Is that I think.
Oh shit.
Winter has lethal right now.
Oh shit, you're right. No.
Yeah. Tumble plus the.
Oh, we're going like this?
Plus form up onto the Dark and Bloodletters just kills Prismsword.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking summon Zolani and then just swing with Zolani.
Yeah, that works too. Either way. I don't know why it's saying, but there are multiple ways to skin a cat, and there are multiple ways to win a game of Legends of Runeterra. But why is that a saying? Like, that's such a terrible saying.
I have not once heard that saying.
Yeah, there's like it's an idiom of like there are many ways to skin a cat.
Like you said skin a cat and Bella ran away. I don't tell you. Third cast is upset. She's gonna go to HR.
Now I gotta go. There are multiple ways.
You really looking it up?
I am looking it up to make sure I'm not like an idiot. Yeah, more than one way to skin a cat means there are many ways to do something, many ways to achieve a goal. Where did it come from, even?
It sounds southern. I'm gonna tell you that. It sounds southern.
Well, anyway, there are multiple ways to win a game of Legends of Runeterra with far less worse idioms that were made in the 1900s.
Was it made in the 1900s?
Apparently so. It was like made as some like dark comedy joke about somebody who oh, well, now I closed the tab and I have to go back and look at it now.
All right, we're good. It's okay.
We're good. We're derailing. We're derailing.
Severely. The call, I know. Yeah. I know in Eternal, right? Cosmic Call was incredibly popular because we had access to, you know, all of the cards that we can possibly have to kind of, I guess, make a superior version of it, whether it be like something with Victor or Helios where they can run burn and have all of this other mumbo jumbo. With standard, is it just too slow? Or I feel like it might, because when it pays, it's so weird because like when it pays off, it can really pay off, right? If you're like holding your own, but I think like there are also just some decks, at least right now, that they're just putting way too much pressure on you.
Yeah. I think it's too slow. I think that it has the same problem that any sort of almost like a landmark deck would, where you're running into the problem of you just get run over by anything that can rally and aggro you down. You know, we even saw with Prism, I mean, granted, the hand from Prism's opponent there was like pretty nuts.
It was nutty. It was nutty. We have Karma in this. Oh, burnt the deck. That was Hex Obliterator.
Burnt the Obliterate, but I don't think it matters really. It's fine. It's like minor inconvenience.
How many Karmas do we have? We have 1 of Karma. Okay. 2 set 3 Seraphine. Big Cat.
Ooh. Wow.
That's a good card to get.
You play the Big Cat, you get the Small Cat, and you're playing 2 landmarks. That's pretty cool. I heard that there's a saying about cats.
There is a saying about cats.
Fill your lungs and cry, Janet.
Janet can get killed right now, by the way, and
absolutely.
And Amphi is just
rip.
Yeah. This is like seeing the speed at which Anfitriao played both of those spells just makes me think of someone at like some local competition, just like aha, wham, you know, like onto the table.
Activated my trap card.
He's like scaring the crap out of your opponent, but
ooh, double side. Okay. Kind of
Double set's
get in.
interesting. I don't think it does a whole lot. I don't know.
I mean, I guess we could pull something, but I feel like we're not necessarily looking for set right now. Definitely want, I guess, some stall, some removal.
Also,
in
Invencivel's
hand, we have Howling Gale, double slip, actually double Howling Gale, double slipstream, Windborn, and Nila.
I bet this first one gets denied. But I don't know if I'd... Oh, that's... Well, yep, you have to commit to it now. I don't think it's a really good idea to show that you had All-Seeing Oracle create that. And I don't think it's a good idea to be playing that one that early, because the Howling Gale is removing your Clockling.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care about the Clockling, we care about our champions and everything. I don't really fully agree with the commitment of the
That's all there is to it.
Divination.
I would
No,
agree.
Scrivings of Divination, I think, is the name of the
Oh, I love
the card.
Carvings of Divination, yeah.
Carvings, not scrivings, but yeah, carvings. I was close. I got the divination and the ings correct.
The Ing's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, Notify. Alright, send it all back. We don't want it.
Yeah.
Looking for Big Cat. I have not been counting spells, so I actually have no idea where we're at currently. Big Cat. Back alley bar. Is it ever worth playing a third back alley bar? Probably not. Utopian Tailstones, Deny, Notify. Okay, so we can stop any spells that are coming through. Mind you, we kind of need that last turn. Rummage, okay. Go ahead and get rid of something. Like, at this rate, like, we have blockers. Not only do we have blockers, we have interaction, so I'm not really quite sure. We have... Nila is currently leveled.
Doesn't surprise me. I always like this goofy little visual bug in Legends of Runeterra on Spectates, where if you join late for Spectates, the cards that were most recently drawn will have a custom card back, whereas the ones that were in the hand are...
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Give it up for the reigning champ!
So that's why you have those two cards that have the default card back, but then the two ones at the far end there are... Oh, hey, we don't even see the card backs anymore, because we now see the hand. It's double Slipstream, Nila, and Elefonte.
Oh, man. I mean, okay, so here we go. We're going in with the swing with Set. Set is currently, what? Are we going to get the Obliterate spell? We're at 5 out of 12. So we're not going to get it this turn, I want to say. Probably have to be next turn. Fine Whirlwind, and then Howling Gale.
It's still doable to get it this turn.
With Coin?
Well, yeah, because you do Coin, and then you play Caustic Rift. What in the world? Oh, no, they played, I see. They played
okay.
The Song Spinner. I didn't even register that.
Entrancing Lure, Time Winder. Time Winder?
Yeah.
Not the worst thing in the world. Yep, Time Winder.
You can discard a token. You can discard a bar even if you want to, because Invencivel did not opt in for going onto the Landmark Destruction cube or spell from Portal Plane.
Ooh, Notify coming through. And like, here's the, like, this is basically a mana cheater fighting a mana cheater. so it's like Invincible's like, haha, I have cards that I can still play. And Effie's just like, well, guess what region I'm playing? Like, especially guess what duo? I got Bar and I have Ionia. Do something, I dare you.
I mean, that is like the ultimate mana cheating landmark combo, really. Like, you updraft everything, reduce everything's cost by 1 that you updraft, and then reduce everything's cost by 1 with bar. So you're just... It's the old 1-2 punch, really.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Place her bets, okay. Not Seraphine yet. Like, we're really waiting on her.
Where is Cat? We demand Cat.
Never mind. Don't even need her.
Don't even need her. We got Karma. We got Karma and we're mana 10. It's so over. Oh, there goes the Brothers Bond. But I don't think that's like a card deal.
Nah. Oh, we can't block here. Hold up. Wait a minute now.
10 HP is a little bit of a scary spot to be in, although you do have the bartender that can heal you up for 3.
Mm-hmm.
I find it funny that they rotated Kindly Tavern Keep and then made Kindly Tavern Keep a better.
Right? True.
Afterwards.
I mean, I think a lot of that really comes down to trying to give certain regions an identity. So I know like Ionia can have some healing, Targa can have some healing, but Freljord apparently not. They can have buffs. They can have buffs up the wazoo. That's it. That's what they're known for apparently.
Freljord does that really well. I think that's been they're a strong region too. Like I don't think Jack Zorn or Darius Nar or Ash LeBlanc or even like the Galio Udyr deck would be as prevalent if it weren't for the fact that it just gets there. It gets big.
A full deny. Okay. We have double Mystic, so we're gonna probably respond to it.
Yeah, I would just Mystic Face at this point. You have your opponent down to 8 HP now, but Smooth Mixologist will be reducing that damage.
It's got cherries.
Anfitriao, understanding the assignment, you know, like keep the HP high because eventually Invencivel will draw into the lethal. I think that heal also just signifies
Karma time.
Spirit is an unquenchable fire.
big karma.
Where there is life,
What up, babe?
there is hope.
Do we know
go
what
ahead and
this
double
Carvings of Divination plays into? Because I know this is the second one that we played. Oh, right.
Most likely, what? Either a Gale or a Divine Whirlwind, but I cannot see it though. Oh, and we have Seraphine. Play Seraphine, please. Please.
Oh, Seraphine will be played.
Light stage
That was
amp.
great.
All
Now
right,
let's really
jam.
sing it.
Yeah. Second Seraphine for the night.
You get Children of the Forest. Ah, of course.
Oh, the buff of this? No.
Of course. Gets played 3 times because of the... Oh, that's goofy.
Ridiculous.
That is so goofy.
Oh, is that lethal right there?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I'm going insane. I've entered my
Hey.
Joker arc watching this game.
Not the Joker arc.
That's so funny, though. I mean,
That is really
Yeah.
ridiculous.
you see, oh, they're below 10 HP against Jan Anila. If they have one more turn, they win, basically, with Sunken Temple on board. And,
Whew.
yeah, mana cheaters against mana cheaters.
Basic. What do you?
Did anyone win?
Turns out.
Everyone's cheating?
Sorry, I mean, shoot. Turns out we got another game. Oh god, game 3, I think. It's either 2 or 3. Oh, okay. We get Jax Ornn into Jandanila.
Ooh,
This
this
gonna
will
be
be
a good matchup.
interesting.
Definitely gonna be a common matchup we're gonna
Gosh.
see.
Great opening hands for both players, honestly.
Ooh.
An attack token is in the Jan Anila's hand, it looks like. Right? No. What? Where is that attack? Yeah, it is in the Jan Anila's hand.
Jandanila.
The little split screen thing had me confused for a second there. Yeah, it is. Double
My
weapon.
heroic last
So
stands
tempting.
never seemed to stick.
Okay,
Oh.
4-3. How do we deal with this?
I'm here in Jana's.
Any takers?
Well,
Really went for mana.
and that might be because Invincivel wants to play for the Divine Whirlwind next turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gotta get this unit off the field. Yep, there it goes.
To get the Jax off the field. Now, this doesn't mean that the Light of Acacia can go into someone else's hands, depending on how you want to play this.
Should have let words solve this.
Takes 2,
Better
down to
get the
16.
forge going.
Forge of Francis. I mean, at this way, now we're probably going to be hoping for the Overwhelm or the Scout equipment.
That's what I'm
Even
thinking.
Fearsome. Even Fearsome's good.
Fearsome would be terrifying in this swing.
Or Jax.
And second Jax, we're never punished, by the way.
Is that one buffed? That one's buffed for Omen Hog.
One's buffed by Omen Hawk, yeah.
Oh, Overwhelm.
Overwhelm. That's It's one of the ones we mentioned a
Isolation.
second ago.
Garlic works in a pinch.
So now it's just
6-4. No way of dealing with it. We're gonna have to play.
May your blessings
Janna's gonna come down.
ease the pain of others. Feel the
Take 6,
breeze
can block
and
everything
know
else.
you have my favor.
I gotta see the statistics on this one. Because I feel like Jack Zorn does have the potential to beat Jan and Neela.
I feel like it's favored, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I just want to see how wrong we are. Prove ourselves incorrect. No, yeah, it is favored. Jan and Neela has a 42% win rate on the ladder in 400 matches into Orange Jacks.
Okay.
So that's a decent sample size. I mean, of course, like ladder stats can always be taken with a grain of salt, you know. But I do think that makes sense because of how we understand. It's something that we've always talked about when it came to why does Jack Zorn do well against control lists? Why do equipments do well against control lists? It's because those stats that you remove, they just keep coming back. Stop, just like stop putting these equipment.
It literally is that. Like, let me tell you, the way that I was in Eternal, like when I guess Jack Zorn kind of like first being the thing, and then like we like eventually went into Eternal, and I was playing Anivia. I would like come across these stupid freaking equipment decks, and I'm just like, I already used the Vengeance. I need another one immediately now. And this was before like equipment freaking was prevalent. I'm just like, oh my gosh, where's my Quietus? Where's my Vengeance? Where's my Ruination? Like, I just can't get rid of everything. I can't deal with this. Such big stats, and that's exactly why.
Would Buried in Ice be good in your Anivia decks at all?
That is such an interesting take.
I mean, if you're struggling into an equipment and you're already playing Freljord, you might as well, right?
You might as well. You might. I mean, I feel like I'd rather just go Ruination because it kills everything. Because if there's no units, you can't play the equipment. you don't have anyone to hold the pot or the pan.
Right.
They're gonna have to suffer with it. Now let's see. Amphi already has a nice juicy 7/6. Gonna go ahead and equip another unit. We have blockers here. We know that our opponent played Wizened Helmsman, so we have an elemental spell in hand.
And we know that because that Divine Whirlwind was committed earlier, that there is potential, a very high likelihood even, that Divine Whirlwind can go through here. So we're just forging this Overwhelm equipment. And I like getting the Overwhelm equipment in Jack Zorn, not just because, oh, it's Overwhelm damage, it's going to be great, but also because if we don't find Jax again, and Jax isn't able to level up the Light of Acacia, we now have that guaranteed Overwhelm on that for Ornn to pick up later. So that's pretty decent. However, Invencivel, with the Sunken Temple on board right now, is going to start outpacing Amphi here, and it could get a little scary here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, I was taking a look at Invincible's deck. We only have one heavy metal and no other equipment destruction. So we kind of do just kind of gotta deal with it. But mind you, I think.
Wow. Played
Good
Calm
card.
Shot last turn, drew the parallel conversions this turn. It's just that easy, fellas.
In you, I see my will.
Divine Whirlwind's here too.
Janna, your wind makes my burdens lighter.
The Ornn!
Do
Oh.
the kids still do stuff back in Shurima?
Ornn isn't leveled. Is Ornn leveled? Ornn is leveled.
Ornn is leveled because of the swing with the Caretaker.
Yes.
Not Caretaker. I'm sorry. They're both 2/3s.
They are both 2/3s.
Older women. They're 2-mana 2/3s. They're both older women. I'm getting them mixed up, okay?
I cast thee out.
Now I need to know. Now I feel bad. Favorite artisan.
Yes, Artisan, thank you. You remember when that card was called Wizened Wizard?
I had to think for a second. I was like, wait.
Yeah, that card used to be called Wizened Wizard when it was in the public build.
Was
like
it
the test build?
Was it really?
Yeah, it had a different name, but then I think because it didn't have any magical properties or something, it just
That makes sense.
they didn't keep it. There's another card that also had a significant name change. It's a Shadow Isles card. and Burgeoning Sentinel used to go by a different name back in the day.
Oh, I feel like I remember that one.
It used to be called the Demacian Sentinel.
Hey.
And
Makes sense.
it was changed because a Shadow Isles card being called a Demacian card just read as too confusing for
very much so
for Riot standards. So yeah.
Now, oh, double gale. That's definitely not going to be enough to shoot through Ornn though. Ornn's going to get overwhelmed.
Here's Neil level up too. The Lunar Night Eclipse level up animation too. Oh, that's so good.
It's pretty sick.
Little cinematic.
Yeah, I feel like we just drop Ornn and call it a day, no? Oh, we're gonna go for the equipment instead. Okay.
I like this. I mean, you slow down your rolls as much as possible here, and this forces Invencivel to be like, oh, Glacial Saurian, ooh, that's big and scary, and then Ornn comes down and says, yeah, but I'm larger and scarier,
and I got tough. Because the whole point, like, because like not having played the spells all at once, Envy now knows, okay, there is an additional removal spell in the hand of Invencivel. Definitely, and it's a fast spell at that rate. One's down. I mean, we block everything though. We're taking a maximum of 5.
No, you're taking more than that. You're hitting for 18 with Ornn.
Oh, hold up. I'm silly. I thought it was Invincible's attack token.
No.
Yeah, disregard my statement. We're just dead. We're dead. And he's a killer.
Not another step.
DED. I got the math right. Heck yeah. Ornn attacked, got +2 attack, had Overwhelm, summons the Spirit of the Forge, and the most that you can block there is 5 HP for the Overwhelm unit, and then yeah, and you just take 9 from each, so that's 18.
Jesus.
Plus a little extra 1 on top. But yeah, that is Jax Ornn being played well.
I think it's a good deck. I do expect Jax Ornn to be in people's lineups. We're definitely not going to see any of that triple warded nonsense that we had last open, because that's just way too
Thank
slow.
goodness.
But hey, it has access to a lot of the really good cards. Like Glacial Sumerian is a naturally overwhelmed unit that you can buff and eventually draw into, and can also draw something else. Equipment is hard to get rid of if you're not really running equipment removal. Not seeing. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of it, but I also have been seeing a lot of it. But it seems like to be coming from more so the explorers rather than it being ran naturally in the deck. I feel like as Janna Neela, like if you're gonna be an individual who brings it, I'm not sure if you invest too much into equipment removal. Given I'm sure that if you come across Jax Ornn or a deck that is kind of built in that manner, you probably just ban it and just call it a day and move on to whatever the other 2 decks are.
Yeah. I've seen some Janna Neela decks run 1 or 2 copies of Heavy Metal and flex some other cards out. So if there are key turns where they don't want equipment on the board, then they have the option to remove them. And I think we even saw that in an earlier match. It was the Prismsword against Winte D Arc match, right? Where they had the triple Steadfast Alkin opener into the equipment there, and then playing the Explorer to use the equipment destruction, the malfunction, to get that off the board. That was pretty effective. That worked out nicely, and I think that would work out well in other scenarios where your opponent doesn't hit all of their 1 to 3 cost units. But yeah, I think there's an argument to be said for trying to flex at least maybe 1 or 2 heavy metals into your Janna Neela list if you're playing on day 1. And yeah, it'll be good. It'll do you well overall.
Like, what is the lineup? I don't think we necessarily have like the lineup for this time around.
I think I know.
I would think we have like 2 decks that are like, okay, these are pretty banger. But then I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people who are like trying to prepare for the open and struggling with that 3rd deck. But I think it really depends on your style and what you're trying to aim for. That if you're just banning Janna Neela, then kind of try to battle everything else. But for the folks at home who are watching, sometimes it is good to just play your comfort decks. Sometimes just like play what you're comfortable with. Sometimes
it's good.
Listen, if you play something that you've played 1,000 times, you will just feel natural on it compared to, picking up something that, could be good, has the potential of being really good, but maybe you don't know the exact ins and outs of it.
I'm looking at some suggested lineups that were sent sent in a group chat thing. There's the Janna Nila, of course, that is then paired with Nardarius and Jaxorn. So you're beating with Jaxorn and Nardarius, you're hypothetically beating Janna Nila. But you're also just bringing a couple of good decks. And then you're bringing Janna Nila as the best deck. Then if you want to counter that by banning Janna and beating Jaxorn Nardarius, you bring Ash LeBlanc, Shaeforce Sen, and Karma Set. Oh, excuse me. So that's like another decent lineup. And then the third suggested lineup is Janna Nila, again, Seraphine Set, which we've seen have some success tonight, and then finally Teemo Yumi as your third deck. Now, that's a little bit dubious depending on how you like to play, but there are a couple of different lineups. Those were all by Sleepy Panda. So credit to them.
Question in regards to Teemo Yumi. That's the what is it? Targon Bandle City?
It's Bandle City Piltover. It's just an elusive aggro.
But it runs these what's that card? The Captain something. It ends up pulling in the capturing a card from your hand.
Oh, Skip, King of the Reef. Yes.
Yes. I know that was a huge counter to the Warden decks that were going on. Yep.
Skip is actually just decent overall because for one, you get intel on 2 cards in your opponent's hand, and 2, you force them to play inefficiently by forcing them to remove cards from you. And so it's like, oh, okay, well now I have to commit a Divine Whirlwind to remove this thing, or a Mystic Shot, or like a valuable removal or burn spell to get this stupid little elusive off the board so I can get my card back. But then sometimes you might not be able to play that card in the same turn, and that's frustrating. So Skip is just, in terms of pure utility, it's designed to be annoying, of course, right?
Annoying as hell.
But in terms of pure utility as well, has some great uses all around. And
yes, absolutely great uses. By the way, Kai, we made it.
We did?
The finals.
We're here?
We are here!
Oh my god. I've been gone for so long off of casting.
We really have. It has been a hot minute. I've traveled.
I've made a journey. I saw Prism Sword with Cosmic Call. I saw Karma Set.
Oh,
so I've seen it all tonight. I'm actually really happy with the deck diversity. I mean, of course, we're seeing Janna Nila all over the place, but really, I'm quite happy with the different lineups that we've seen, especially if you're making it to the end here. Like Aatrox Twin Bane still proving its efficacy alongside Jaxorn. Now, that might be like, oh, it's such a mid-range heavy lineup, but considering everything else we've seen around it, we even saw Heimer Nora briefly.
Yeah,
and that's just cool to get here to where we are now. Okay,
yeah,
I'm done talking. I'm sorry for rambling over you.
No worries. I think one of my favorite explorers that came out is Scholarly Pioneer. Like, being able to put an equipment onto this challenge unit just feels so good, and we see how in this turn, Anfi ended up dragging the Vayne to her death. Mind you, we had to trade buff for buff to form up for a Sky Splitter. Ooh, look at this, and we get the strike through, preventing the scout unit from being able to do anything next turn.
And it is still a 2/2. Well, now it's it's buffed because of
buffing it.
It's buffed because of Sky Splitter, so it'll go down to a 4/3 next turn. But it's still like,
Aatrox is here.
Yeah, I do like Scholarly Pioneer because those Explorer cards are such great little Swiss Army knives in anything that you bring them in. If you have space for them. I don't think that every deck has space for them, but the decks that have space for them make great use of them.
Are we gonna see we just take this, or we're gonna play Harsh Winds?
I think you're...
Oh, we'll take it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. Because Harsh Winds and as well as Three Stitches can be saved for a more pivotal turn, especially once the larger Darkens start coming down. Mind you, World Ender is at 14, so we're still outside the range of it.
It's only turn 7, so...
Still early.
Got time. Personally, I'm a fan of Amphi's hand compared to what Winte D Arc is rocking right now. Big Glacial Saurian, by the way. Omen Hockey and the other Saurian buffing it up to 7/6. Throwing equipment on that bad boy, and well, it will be a threat to be reckoned with.
I mean, Aatrox can... We still have Condemn. Like Winte D Arc does have Condemn, so we can go ahead and condemn the 7/6 if we want to. Still risky because Amphi does have 2 mana up, which is going to be enough for a Sky Splitter. Are we going to pass? We did pass. Do we accept this pass?
I like the pass. Burns a lot of mana from Winter.
Yep.
Forces them to do something.
Yep. Oh, gonna put it down. Okay.
Wow.
We know
Make him have it.
Up here. Guys, coming down. Unit's gonna survive. Condemn is just a one-sided strike, so we don't really have to worry about losing the Aatrox. What are we dragging?
Why drag Bird? Bird can't block. What?
Basically to drag Bird, in case that our opponent plays another unit, aka Winte D Arc plays another unit, then we don't have to worry about dragging the 7/3 being dragged, because now the 7/3 can block either Aatrox or Anaka. Anaka's huge right now, by the way. That's kind of scary. And we have Anaka with Tumble.
Oh.
This is the turn I am expecting to see Harsh Winds.
Oh, definitely. Especially if it's going to be a Dark and Heart coming down here. I think Amphi might be waiting to see what is pulled out of the Rift here.
Oh, Badger. Okay.
Oh, the Void.
Badger's not spooky, but not like very, very spooky. Gonna go
just go double trade. Sure. Yeah.
I dig it. Because you can't even swing by Aatrox. No point. You're gonna end up losing it. I mean, maybe. I don't think so.
One of the most potent things that Harsh Winds does as well is it completely ruins Winte D Arc's ability to reduce the cost of this World Ender. It's still at 13 mana. Sure, it's within the realm of possibility next turn, but that's a significant investment. Compared to what you can do.
The god of the forge, you
Big Orn. He's also struck because of the Saurian hitting last turn. So now that's going to be... Well, it's going to be a Spirit of the Forge coming through. Aatrox is not large enough to prevent the Overwhelm. Aatrox Strike Spell could remove the Saurian on attack here.
Did we have a choice to get the Fearsome? Because I know Orange Little bit weird. I think it automatically goes for the strongest equipment, right?
In hand, yes. I think there's nothing else that's equipped on this board, though, so...
Fighting is the first language.
Okay, I'm bugging. Okay, I see. It's together.
Yeah.
Okay, thought it was over.
I think were you expecting, like... You were expecting, something else there.
Yeah, I was thinking it was gonna be Overwhelm. But Glacial let's go card. Saurian. Glacial Saurian naturally has Overwhelm.
Saurian. Do you say... I mean, you'd say Dinosaur, right?
Dinosaur, yeah. Saurian, yeah. Okay, this is an option. I like this. The ephemeral unit isn't going to survive because of the strike. Okay.
A lot of damage. Overwhelm is just proving time and time again to be a very effective keyword.
I have waited for long enough.
Really? You're going to go that way instead? I think I like that.
Permanent unit, you know?
And even if they do have Sky Splitter... No, I think if they have Sky Splitter... I think we still lose. So it's what? It's +3.
Right.
Are we dead? We're dead.
Insane. That's death.
The safer play was going for the ephemeral, even though I understand the desire of not wanting to trade off a unit for a unit that's gonna die anyway. In this case, it would have played around back better.
It just gets there. That's all that really ends up happening.
Game 1. Get us this game 2. Mid-range fight. What were the bans? What were the bans? That's what I need to know.
We're gonna figure out pretty soon. So obviously not Aatrox Vayne. Sorry, it's not even Quinn. Quinn was not invited to the party.
This time around, no. So it's either Galio Udi or Heimerdinger Seraphine set. I'm leaning towards Seraphine set, just because it kind of just does things. You think it's not gonna do things. They have a bunch of 1-ups, but they know all the 1-ups are drawn.
Yeah, I think Seraphine's set for both players actually is the one that plays into their lineups best. Yeah, so look, Janna Neela is being played by Amphi, playing back into the Aatrox Vayne, which this is the matchup that is supposed to be favored for Aatrox Vayne. So might even go to a game 3 depending on how this one resolves.
Okay. I'm looking at the deck list right now. Neela Janna being played by Amphi has 2 heavy metal. So we will have the ability to remove some equipment if we're able to draw into that, which we did. We do have it in the opening hand.
Nice.
In terms of what are we working with here? We have 2 form up, 3 Gentlemen's Duel, 2 Condemns. Interesting. I never know. Yeah, 2 Condemns. I don't know how I feel about Condemn. Like, I feel like I lean more towards single combat. But I understand that given that we have Tumble and we have Scout, you know, we're more likely to get the we have a chance of getting the Condemn off where it's only 1 mana, and that's, I guess, better than spending 2. And it's a one-sided strike compared to single combat being a double. First one's gone.
So long, Bloodletters. We'll just take another one. Amphi doesn't even trade it back. That makes sense because you'll be able to swing with the next turn.
Guess we're doing this.
I'm wondering, do you, like, when you're playing an equipment-based deck and you know that your opponent is going to be running removal for set equipment, how do you think about which equipment that you want to prioritize? And if you do, what should we prioritize aside from what's in hand? Usually how it works for me, I tend to lean more towards the Darkened Spear for the simple fact that it does grant stats, and stats, you know, sometimes can't really win you game if something's just 1 HP too much to handle. Darkened Harp and Darkened Spear are the 2 that I'm I want to save these. Darkened Bloodletters, I'm kind of let it rock.
Heralds the squall.
I wonder if there's an argument for it to be very more matchup dependent, right? Because in, you know, Janna Neela's biggest weakness is, or at least the clearest one, is Nardarius. And that's just because they have low to the ground overwhelm units. So if you're playing Darkened Bloodletters, which is an equipment that can keep going back into hand, especially after you've played Zolani, an overwhelm unit, that's where that equipment might just get there. It might just be more effective overall.
Yeah.
So, but I'd say, yeah, Spear is the one that I'd prioritize the most because it just gets you on board so much quicker. It's a terrifying card on turn 8 to play into. Bloodletters. I actually like Bloodletters better than Harp in most situations.
I can see that.
It's value. You know, you're playing for the card draw and everything, but why would I play for card draw when I'm just trying to overwhelm and crush my opponent instead?
Yeah. Oh, this is hella draw. Okay, Divine Whirlwind Gale. What does Winter Arc? What do we do as Winter Arc? We could get another Vayne down, but I'm not sure how necessary that is. Probably better to go for. Okay, Aatrox. Aatrox is a big unit. You suddenly can't swing with anything without there being a consequence, aka losing a unit. We do have Howling Gale currently. Amphi has Howling Gale at 3. Divine Whirlwind does 3, so I mean, we short 1 mana for it. Be able to play both. 1 mana, 2 mana. Oh, no one.
How much damage is that Howling Gale doing this turn?
Right now, it's currently at 3.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that won't help anything.
Get rid of the Challenger unit.
That's my feeling.
Currently hovering over the Badger Bear.
Hurry up so I can kill you.
Onto the Broadwing.
Wow.
I rally the mighty
Janna is
men.
currently 4 out of 6. Neela is 10 out of 16.
That's
Zephyr
not going
heralds
to
the
stay that low
scroll.
for very long because there's 13 out of 16 now.
All must end.
Going for the swing. Okay. Double Neela in hand.
Here's the thing, though. Like, this swing, I don't know, terrifying. You're like, oh, okay. I'll trade this.
Yeah, like,
walk this.
you really need to get the Runeterra going.
You need to get World Ender going, but also, this is where Zolani is just effective, right? So you could be trading over for 5 damage on top of that Cloudwinder, but instead trading both units out, losing it to one of the Neelas that was drawn, and then Master Lookout's also played. So, yeah, I'm still just thinking about that equipment thing where it's like, what do you prioritize? And in this matchup, you definitely prioritize Overwhelm or going wider than what Piltover's can handle.
Yes. I think what was really smart of Amphi to do last round, right? We ended up going for the Broadwing instead of the Badger Bear. And mind you, Amphi was hovering the Badger Bear, was thinking about killing it at first. And I think choosing not to was the correct play, because at that point, you would have given your opponent the Dark Blood on his back, given them a unit to then summon Zolani on their attack token, and made the swing a lot more scarier. Whereas in this case, like, we ended up swinging with Badger Bear and Aatrox, and it's fine. Like, I'm not really afraid of anything here.
Take me to them.
Man, this open attack is... Oh, this is just gross. That's 14 damage on this swing.
This is death.
I am with you. Blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's death.
Game. That's literally just game. We have to find one to back it up. Jeez.
Kill innocents are no more than fiends.
Janna Neela, ladies and gentlemen.
We playing bilge rules?
That is just what the card do. I don't think that there's anything that Winter has that can feasibly... Amphi might have been testing the waters for a potential
Lift us up upon your
second
mighty
Aatrox
wings,
there.
old friend.
Yeah.
They're really just... I do this too. Like, I try to make my burn cards the last cards that I play, just to make sure that my opponent isn't cheating and suddenly pulls a Catalyst of Eons out of Eternal and into the wrong region.
Yeah, right?
Like, oh right, I forgot that card.
There we go.
As much as I say things, I don't remember all of them. And that will be a swift and commanding 2-0 victory for Anfitriao.
Wow. Well played. Strong. I mean, but then, like, with that being said, I think that the ban wasn't Janna Neela, but it ended up being the Seraphine deck. How do we measure the two versus each other?
Janna Neela is stronger. That's really how I feel about it. I think the Seraphine deck still does have potential, and it still does really well when it's able to pop off. But if you slip on just one turn, I think that Janna Neela is so consistent in what it does that it's able to win or take the results more reliably than Seraphine is. So that's what we saw there. We saw Jax Ornn being as potent and reliable as it always has been. And then we saw Janna Neela. Now, you remember at the very beginning of the match, I cursed Winte D Arc, all right? I said, Aatrox Vayne, oh, that's supposedly a counter matchup into Janna Neela. It didn't matter. And that's just what Janna Neela does. It's like counter matchup, I don't care.
It's tough because I like we have seen the hands where, like, even with Aatrox Vayne, that they come out with a really good hand that is like a really aggro hand, and you have some of the early game equipment that you need, and you can just, you know, go wide on the board. And I think what it is, like, I think it really does come down to that Janna Neela does have access to the draw. Not only that, it has access to some pretty decent removal and ways to buff said removal with you know, really cheap cards, right? Gale can go up to 5, and you can theoretically get it up to 5 for 0 mana if you end up playing the Windbreakers?
Windborn Mariners, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, shoot, goodbye to this unit. And like I think with Aatrox Kane, it doesn't necessarily become too problematic for the General Needle deck, because we saw that swing is like, hey, we swung with a Badger Bear and Aatrox unleveled. There's no overwhelm, there's no other keywords. We're kind of just, you know, chipping away at this board. Then it's getting spooky. It's getting to the point where it's going to kill us. Whereas as compared to, you know, Jax Ornn, right, has units in their regions that naturally have overwhelm. 1. 2, is able to buff said units. Not necessarily buff the units, but buff the equipment that can go onto these units, and that equipment in itself goes to a different unit if we lose the unit. So we're never ever losing the value of said stats. Whereas with a not Kane Aatrox, I mean even Kane Aatrox, but with Vayne Aatrox, you know, we lose the stat. It's gone. You know, we lose the body, and we don't really have any stats to really back it up with, and we see just how, you know, it can kind of falter in that sense. I think probably it is the wave to go Darius Gnar and Jax Ornn. That it makes sense. They both kind of have like a very similar game plan in terms of overwhelm and the spells that are really good, right? Sky Splitter probably being, again, one of the #1 cards in the meta right now.
Health buffs have always been a problem in Legends of Runeterra. I'll have to tell you.
Every single time.
Every time.
Shoot. This is tournament number 15. We've been gone for a minute, and we saw some wonderful Runeterra today. And I'm sure we're gonna see some. I'm actually excited for the Worlds qualifier. That's gonna be a bigger, like on Sunday when we see that. What I believe the top 64.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be good.
The great thing is that Legends of Runeterra also, I'm like subscribed to them on YouTube, and in the sub box they've put up all of the scheduled stream stuff. So it's like I'm very excited to see how that all rolls out.
It's gonna be
resolves
great.
Itself.
Thank you for everyone who's joined us. Congratulations to Anfitriao for winning the whole thing. Try their lineup. The deck list is public. If you saw something that you liked today, go check it out. Just be like, let's see what's popping. What you playing? Who won? Oh man, we're gonna see. We're gonna see it is. Thank you everyone for joining in. We will catch you again. Remember, Lances is bi-weekly, so most likely gonna catch you, I believe. It's either going to be the 9th or the 16th. I do know that on the 9th we might have some prior commitments preventing us from hosting a tournament that day, but we'll just see. Again, Thank you all for joining. We'll see you next time.
See ya.